นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะพุทธังธัมมังสังฆังนามัสสามิ We pay respect and homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened Gautama Buddha. We pay homage to the Buddha, the teaching of the Buddha, and the monastic order. So Happy New Year to all of you across the world. Hello to everybody. In front of me is my very intimate group of elite students, the elites, the Navy SEALs of Buddhism. So we're live across all social media platforms. It's a rare thing. I don't think you guys have ever seen this my room. This is my very intimate part of my room. This is my
which is library.
My library. This is the tree of knowledge right here, and all of the stuff that all of you that we're going to be diving into is right here. God, so much readings, but I love it. Ooh. See, the disciples of the Buddha. Much cited scholarly anthology in key Theravada doctrines. Selections from the sacred books. Buddhist monastic life. A guide to the study of the Theravada Buddhism, Book 2. Banner of the Arahants. Guide to Buddhism, Dhamma, and Abhidhamma, Book 1. These are all college prescribed readings, because on the side of the books there is not this selection, but on the side of the books, like, see elementary Pali, and on the side of the book it has EN 120 for those who are in the bachelor's program for Buddhist studies, master's program, and PhD in Buddhist studies. So just so you all, just for my students that's watching, for you all know, that's the Seeing the Way anthology and teachings by Ajahn Chah, EN 242. EN 4242. So all, get your BA in Buddhist study with Jidao. The dean principal of School of Jidao. All right, whatever. Okay. So this is my library, and then we have Ajahn Mun joining us. Ajahn Mun. Yeah, he's gonna watch all of you guys. Okay, don't mess with him. He will pull out the bamboo stick and chase everybody. All right. So you all are aware, and at the time of this talk, we had that ding dong from the active U.S. Army guy that wanted to join ISIS, and he mowed people over in New Orleans. And then we had that Trump hotel or something in Las Vegas, and then the Cybertruck exploded. Today's important, where I have to fire up all of my live, which is a pain in the butt, because you all can see I was just scrambling for things. I don't even know the book, the Life of Buddha book is in here somewhere. I have no idea where it is. And I'm supposed to review that tonight. So y'all gonna have to bear with me. Oh, it's right there. It's underneath one of the laptops. Can you believe that? It's underneath one of the laptops that is doing YouTube right now. I can't with myself. I was in one of the most deepest reflections today ever in my life. I was such in deep reflection. That's a very serious thing when your teacher tells you that. In front of me in my room is a group picture that I'm looking at when I was first appointed head of security at the monastery. At the monastery. And there are two individuals in the picture that became top officials in my group. Top officials mean I may sound like CNN right now, but we were in positions of public trust. You know, anytime when you have a uniform on, you're serving the public, and they authorize you to wear weapons, and had you used weapons, use of force, then you now have to tell a jury of 6 or 12 and justify what you did. And so since I was in charge, my selection standards, like, I now have to explain to the jury why these people are now serving the public, and have they take deadly actions or any type of actions. Then, and of course, time goes by, like 10 years, 12 years go by, and now I found out two of my top former officials using cocaine, using marijuana. You know, life happens to them. They didn't know how to cope with it. And then I have their history, their case file. I track everybody. First and foremost, I track everybody. Oh, it doesn't, it's not supposed to sound like I'm stalking anybody. But I remember a little detail. I choose people for a reason, for a good reason. And I keep people in my life for a good reason. So I time it just right to one of them. And I said, let me remind you the things that you had done, the things that you got away with, the things that you thought you got away with, the things that you thought that everybody had short-term memory loss or long-term memory loss. I didn't. And I told one of my guys, I said, it's not about putting guilt on you right now. I just want you to see what you did. This ties directly to, it's not about putting guilt on you right now. I just want you to see what you did. This ties directly to terrorism that transpired over the past couple of days and New Year, because there are micro aggressions, micro terrorism that happens in the mind. The Ding Dong, who was formerly active military, his brother explained he's Muslim, but the Muslim thing probably has nothing to do with it, as investigations are still ongoing. And my job is not to interpret. My job is to just present things as they are. But he was isolated. That was what the brother said. So we're getting cues and clues. And so were these two individuals who were on my team, formerly on my team. Isolated, isolation. Okay, furthermore, let me expand. They have nothing to look forward to. They have no religion. It wasn't my job. We volunteer together at the Buddhist temple when it's time to chant. I'm like, you guys run the show, I'll be on the radio. And I go and I just watch the monks chant, and I loved it. It was nirvana for so many years. For 10 years, it was nirvana for me. It's not my job to say, oh, by the way, how you doing? You know, all these white folks that was joining me. Hey, you guys should be Buddhist. You guys should take the precept. You guys should chant with me. It's not my job. My job is my job, and that's not one of my jobs. But these individuals have no religion, grew up with no religion. When I look back at my career, previous career and previous retirements, I'm just like, how the hell did I inspire and influence these people down to the teeth? And they respected me so much down to the teeth to carry out their duties. But then later on in life, and I'm just like, there is nobody else that could set a fine example of the holy life and a life of leadership and principle than me. I told them that. And I'm like, and for the ones that died, 3 died. 3 in my team died. 2 accidental, 1 suicide. Jacob Hall, suicide. Travis Dick House. I'm sorry. Jacob Hall, accidental death in his room. Travis Dick House. So they say that he hung himself across the street at a Catholic church over here on 9th Avenue. And then the most recent, 5 months ago, Kyle Corrin. All were canonized retroactively saints by virtue of public service. They were just beautiful individuals. I miss them every day. Every day I miss them. So I'm talking to one of my guys, and I'm like, the actions that you've taken. You ever thought that our brothers that passed away look down on what is going on here in your life? How reckless you live your life? How do you honor their life? This is not the Jidao code. This is not the Jidao way. Just so happens, School of Jidao was named after this individual who told me, conversations go back and forth, who told me I graduated School of Jidao. Yeah, you kind of did, because y'all was with me for like 8-9 years. So technically, I assumed that everything that you've learned from me, my leadership skills, method, modality, style, nature, disposition, that you were going to be good law-abiding citizen, and I don't have to worry about you when you're off on your own. You hold yourself head held high. So I was in a very sad. My heart was very heavy today, had it not been for Miss Vandana, who invited me to eat lunch with her, and I vent. One of very rare humans that I vent to, just because I have to stay strong or at least appear strong, and soak it all in and process it. But I'm still human, right? I'm not a saint. I'm not an arahant. So we're having this talk today because I've identified so much in their minds. The investigation of their minds, the investigation of humans' mind. Post Lion's Roar, I declared Lion's Roar a month ago. That means I've got humans. I declared Lion's Roar a month ago. That means I've got humans figured out 90%, which is impressive for someone who's 36 that don't even have a graduate degree in psychology. To declare to the world that I got humans figured out 90% based upon the designs of my question, observation skills, scientific method. Humans are very difficult to figure out, actually, because the depth of the mind, very difficult to measure. It takes a very skillful person to know what they're measuring, why they're measuring it. People's motives, intentions, their tendency to backstab, risk assessments, assessments of stupidity, assessment of inclinations, assessment of patterns, assessments of recidivism, of offend and likely to reoffend. This head right here is like AI. It's like AI to the 10th power on a human behavior level. But yes, so there's this. So tonight I coin and label these things called microaggressions, That's great. During a serious talk, one of my Facebook just decided not to record anymore. So that's all right. We'll just merge over to the other one. When people don't have religion, I mean, just choose one, because all of them kind of preach the same thing. Maybe not the how comprehensively like Buddhism, but they all kind of have precepts and commandments and stuff like that. When you don't have religion, when you don't have good role model, when you don't have something to look forward to, isolation, loneliness, depression, anxiety, people will look for groups to join like ISIS, look for other extremist group to join, and they will need a leader. And of course, they'll attach onto some ding dong that says, "Yeah, you're promised heaven if you strap this thing on and go." I can't use certain adjective or it'll block me across social media. So kaboom. Okay. So we have much work to do, and tonight you all are going to discover you have a purpose in your life and you have meaning in your life as you all are being cultivated as young teachers. Hopefully you will accept a position soon. It's coming towards our way very soon. I have a very serious thing. I am very anti-terrorist, and I will launch an anti-terrorist program. And I will raise funding for my anti-terrorist program, anti-crime, anti-terrorist program, because I see the dangers in people And even in my own group, I see dangers already looming right now actively in their mind. That's what made me think so deeply, so hard today, weigh so heavy on my heart, as it should on all of your hearts. Just pretend like I'm the Buddha sitting here. Just pretend like Jesus Christ is sitting here. What a challenge to come in this lifetime. You should always think about your fellow humans, what they're going through, how they suffer, why they suffer. Dedicate your life to service, and you will find joy in it, even though it is a pain in the ass sometimes. Truly is. A new year, people expect new things. For me, not really. I don't really expect anything, and it's just another year to me. So I was thinking about what kind of talk am I going to give for New Year, and it was well founded that over the past 10 years, that's all I did was think about other people. So my year went by joyfully. You can't expect a new year if you have old habits. So you have to look at the habits, or else it'll be this another year, not a new year. I find great joy, even though my 10 years, when break it down into details, was rough financially, was rough in many aspects if we were to focus on the negative or the not so ideal life of a monk. But the greatest joy is the service to humanity, the content creating, the contribution of education to the world. If I stop today, there are like 6, 7 more years of posting and reposting to do. Can you imagine that? If I stop today, and mind you, every time when I have these deep contemplations, I tend to drag my phone with me out in the waters and contribute even more education. So I make more contents to the point where we had to get new external, hard drives of now 20 terabytes. This past Black Friday, 20 terabytes, and I fully intend to use all of that. That's a very serious, voluminous goal. So I hope you all have the same idea that I do, share mutual feelings that I do. As the world is coming to such a volatile, dangerous loneliness, isolation, just all the stuff that you hear, just pay close attention to it and look at it through the lens of Buddhism. I don't object Donald Trump putting Jesus Christ back into our schools, the Bible. As a matter of fact, there's this new series on Amazon that is very uplifting, actually. And it is Jesus Christ, the Game Changer. And of course, I'm a Buddhist monk, but I really talk highly about the Bible recently because we don't have a choice. I can't change Donald Trump's mind and put Buddhism in school. The moment we do that across the nation, people will revolt, and then they'll be like, oh, that's too religious. They play that game. They play all sorts of games. We should not negate the value of the Bible and what it contributes to democracy, care, kindness, education, forgiving. People just need Christ to look down on them, upon them, with them, next to them, above them. People need someone to be afraid of. It's a good thing. So, we're going to do our part as Buddhism, and we'll be there for the Christians in case they can't find the how in the Bible. We'll be there to teach them the how, to help them on the path. But yeah, our world is changing, and I just wanted to just focus on that closely to my elite group here. And furthermore, I'll be launching a lot of programs, part of the anti-terrorism program and Buddhist education, Buddhist elite education, Buddhist intelligence program, is that I will open it up to the public again to join. I'm going to start screening students, the most intelligent, open-minded, effective students I can find in the world, and recruit them into our group and cultivate them, number one, to help them solve their own problems and quickly, effectively, and comprehensively, and then start cultivating them as teachers like you all are. I mean, everything you're learning, you now have the power to teach that to other people. You have that intelligence to teach it to other people. One word, one sentence out of the CBT book can save a life. See what I did to all of you? Gave you that power to save lives. So rejoice in that fact that you are all becoming superheroes, slowly, gradually, and not even know it. I just hope that when the time is right, you would lead, each of you will lead 30 or 40 of them. Separate them into age. I'll classify them. People have no choice but to turn to Buddhism or Christ, whatever. But we got it. We have a whole arsenal of teachings for them to make sense in their life. They don't have a choice. There become a time where they're going to be so broken in their house, in their home, in their room, so lonely, so desperate, suffering to no end. The smart ones will figure it out. The smart ones will realize the Dhamma is the answer. That's why we teachers are trained very closely when a student start crawling towards us. Not literally crawling, but start approaching us and they start talking, and because this uniform is difficult to approach because it looks really holy and bright. It just looks different than any other. We Theravadins, we also carry ourselves in such a way where it's not really approachable. So when a student have that courage to come forward, we pay really close attention. We pay even more close attention when they have an envelope in their hand. That doesn't mean that we're happy that there's money in the envelope. That means that this student knows how to give and they're seeking answers in their life. Knowing how to give is so important. So important. Because when people don't give and all they do is take, that to me is kind of a form of like terrorism. That to me is like a form of cancer. Somewhere down the line today, upon counseling a mother of a child, somewhere down the line, I forgot to record this and publish it, but I described I described the child's psychological problems as the child has a psychological tumor, and I'm a very skillful surgeon. And I'm going to remove this tumor very slowly, very carefully, and as painless as I possibly can. This is an analogy in regards to the sensitivity of the child emotionally. And thus I started to do that. Matter of fact, I actually passed out before the counseling session at their house. I did. The couch was comfy, or the couch alone was comfy. But I had so much on my mind. Do you know what surgeons, those poor surgeons, they're cutting into your brain, little vessels, small vessels, micro vessels. Hell, I wonder how neurosurgeons don't have a stroke before an actual surgery. That's me dealing with sensitive children who are verge suicide. I have to be so careful with my words, and my eyes have to be like a eagle's eyes. And today, as soon as I woke up, I had to jump into action. I was not ready. Oof. But I had to all ears and try to focus as much as I can. And I saw the microaggressions on their faces and what was settling and what was unsettling on their faces. And I was like, oh, we're not going to use that word again. And I skillfully did what needed to be done. Anyways. But back to giving. Everyone is a threat when they don't give. they're less of a threat when they start giving. Maybe you all haven't lived long enough to figure this out, but when they don't give, that's all they do is take. They take, they got hidden agendas behind them. One must ask, what is their motive? I start to analyze these people who don't give, and everybody knows by now I don't care about money. If you want to be rich, don't be a monk. And I'm also in social work, so obviously my line of work and everything is not about money. Never was, never will be about money. This is about dedicating body, speech, and mind. Giving means body, speech, and mind for the benefit of other people. It has nothing to do with somebody giving you a bottle of vodka on New Year's Day. It has to do with patterns and intention. And yet, I looked at some of these individuals and it's like they've never given. For the ones that is on my red flag alert area, they've never given to humanity. Never nothing, nada. We go eat, right? We go eat at an Asian restaurant. The utensils are on the right side of the table. They don't even care enough to take the napkins and place it around and pass around the chopsticks, pass around the fork. When you're trained mindfully to watch little small details, how they eat, gives you cues and clues about them. How they walk, how they talk. It gives you cues and clues how reckless they are. It gives you cues and clues how they like to use other people for what people can be used for. Yeah. Very difficult words to understand here. But pay attention around you. Just look around you. Look at those who give and those who don't. Those who are involved in community and churches or temples, monastery or mosque. And look at the one that don't give. Don't pay attention to the ones that don't give. Those are the one on your yellow and orange list. Orange flag, yellow flag, right away. I failed to say this to the world when I was a monk. Why did I fail to say that? Maybe I was still conducting social research as a social scientist. But again, post Lion's Roar, I had a lot to learn and to be confident in my words and directives to the world. I can't say the wrong thing. And people out there now watching and paying real close attention to every word that John has to say about humans. How to live wisely, how to choose the right human, how to hang out with them, keep on hanging out with them, or cut them off. And seeing the dangers in the smallest mistakes. So yeah, these are some of my findings, micro findings, as I was reviewing these individuals' lives that is of concern to me. And I don't see their life becoming any better. And I have run out of words and adjectives to counsel them. And on the level of such counseling, I risk chasing them away, provoking resentment, provoking, even animosity, because that's the teacher's job, is to call them out. And some pills are difficult to swallow, but this is who you are. This is who you are. You've been running away from yourself. I told this individual. You've been running away from the truth. You've been running away from yourself. This is what you did. You did it. You did it. You took someone's money. You took someone's money. You agreed to do something. Blah, 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 blah. It just goes on and on and on and on. It's a lot of finger pointing, but it was necessary for them to own up to it. Keeping the precept is also important now more than ever before. Keeping the precepts. Oh, goodness. Once again, the law book every year gets thicker. Why? Because we have become so clever at lying, stealing, cheating, and killing that into the details of the law. For example, the handcuff key law. Do I have one? I do. The handcuff key law. I got teachings for everything. So first, it was never a law to have a handcuff key. Then one day here in Tampa, a ding dong decided to have a handcuff key around his neck. He killed his family. Detectives were trying to investigate it, and he just pretended like it was an accident. The detective was like, "All right, let's go back to the station. We'll talk about it." They cuffed him in the front because he was a father, right? Perhaps the policy did not apply at that time to everyone needs to be cuffed in the back. And the detective was like, it's two of us, one of him. Yeah, cuffed in the front. The ding dong decided to take the handcuff key and unlocked it, grabbed the detective's gun, shot one of them, shot the other one, and then run into a gas station. I think 1997, I think, here in Tampa. There was a standoff, and I don't know what happens after that. Then, so the law, it's now a felony to have a handcuff key in the state of Florida. However, here are the elements to it. If a handcuff key is on a key ring, it's a felony. It's a felony. I'm sorry. It's a felony if it is not on a key ring. If it's on a key ring, it's fair game. The second thing is upon arrest, immediately and effectively, you disclose to law enforcement that you, in fact, have a handcuff key. Then you won't be charged. Why the hell a Buddhist monk teaching you guys about handcuff key law? Because you see the intricate details in it, in the construction of the language of the law for a damn key. Because humans do that. They will take it off the key ring and hide it on their body, tape it to their body, put it on their belts. There are belts made specifically to hide a handcuff key. There are all these things out there. And then you got pistols that fit. There are pistols that fit inside of a case that goes on a belt buckle. I was chief of security. It was my job to understand how they infiltrate inside of a large crowding and prevent mass shootings. That was my job. John wore 4 stars on his shoulders. That's a lot of responsibility. And yeah, that's why I don't have any hair left. But it's like, yeah, that's how we use our intelligence to commit crimes and evil. Sneaking in weapons and wanting to do harm or have enemies, and people live very complicated lives. The fights that broke out, the jealousy, the love affairs that broke out in the events that I worked, I was just like, wow, great. So therefore, again, maybe my job is to also inform of you about what's happening in the world. Also, maybe some of you don't know what's happening in the world or never thought about it on the depth of the level of the world that we live in. So this way you can start thinking about how we're going to solve it, how we're going to fix it. It would be narcissistic of us not to think about other people and how to fix the problem. It would be narcissistic of us to just think about our own enlightenment. So, but initially, yes, you should worry about just your own stuff. The other stuff, let me worry about. But yeah, today is just about, there's a lot to do in this world. It is a challenge for all of us, and we will embrace this challenge joyfully, ferociously, and brave and courageously. It is work that needed to be done. It was work that Christ saw. It was work that Gautama Buddha saw that it needed to be done. Doing what needs to be done. Practice what needs to be practiced. Likewise, on the total opposite end of this spectrum of today's talk, is that when the world does in fact get this hectic, we tend to attach onto worldly events. And quite frankly, yes, I should call myself out for getting a little attached onto some of these things. And therefore, I promised myself that I was going to go out on the beach and meditate even more and let go, and things will work itself out. And I have to refine my practice as I notice a perhaps 30% drop, 30 to 30%, 35% drop in my own effectiveness in meditation. Obviously, if I sound or appeared stressed out from time to time, that means he himself also is fallen short of his own practice. he himself need to return back to the same book he just showcased to everybody and go back and read some more and tighten his nuts, bolts, and screws up so that he becomes a better teacher and be less worldly affiliated, worldly concerned, or something like that. But I just can't help it. You have a teacher that cares a lot about everybody. You know? Just imagine if Jidao was not, all he did was just go out on the beach all the time. We go on his timeline, he's always at the beach. And he's been out there for 10 years. There are teachers like that. There are monks like that I follow that I've never heard them spoke a word. They don't even say hi to me. I'm like, what's up, dude? Send. 10 years later, same message still there on Facebook. Damn. Well, I guess he's an arahant already. Shit. Must be nice. So I just don't want to be a useless monk. Nothing worse than them reading about Theravadan order and they're like, yeah, well, they're all about themselves. And, Jidao is just another one of them Theravadins that, goes into the wood and take a bunch of pictures. He looked real nice. I mean, he don't speak. He don't talk. He don't contribute nothing. Yeah. So anyways. So yeah, there's that fine balance too. It's that fine balance. Difficult, but it can and it will be done. So anyway, yeah, it's just when things trouble me, I just like to. This is a particular fire in my heart to open up more programs. And besides, so I know that they're gonna be crawling to Theravadan teachings. Like I said, they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. There's no other teachings that is so warm, welcoming, warm, intriguing, enthusiastic, exciting to walk with the Buddha, buying through his words right here. Nothing so secure in knowledge, direct experience, direct self-inquiry, to know that there was a man on this earth that dealt and tamed life, tamed humans, knower of the world, did what needs to be done, declared lion's roar. So yeah, it's amazing. So I'm going to. That's why this is the introduction and the start. I already got people on TikTok like, how to become your student? Send me an email. #1 Vietnamese interpreter @gmail. Find me on Facebook. Message. So this is the start of the conversation, as I would need to put bullet points on the policy of how the new Buddhist intelligence school will be. But for sure, I just want smart students. I want students that know how to give and that will give. If they just come into the school and all they know is how to take, why are you here? Why are you here? I'm sorry. Are you going to tell me you don't have greed and excessive desire? Oh, really? So 1 of 3 poison and you don't have that, right? Because last time I checked, everyone had it, including myself. And the only way to tame that is to give more and take less. So what have you given to society and humanity? What have you given to your family? What have you given to society and humanity? People were narcissistic and all about themselves and didn't know how to give jack. They may know how to give to Tom, but they didn't give jack back in the day of Christ. And it was by through the teachings of Christ in the Bible that society started to look after the marginalized, the poor, the needy, the old, and the sick. Maybe people forgot. See, we can't dismiss Christ because the Buddha came first, then Christ. 500 years apart. But it seemed like Buddha taught all of this already, and then the people forgot. So then Christ had to appear and then remind them again with the almighty power of God and his consequences if you don't. It need to be followed by a threat from God, okay, to tighten them up. So yeah, and I'm not sure. Well, I gotta have a system of screening students. I hope, and yeah, because Discord is just too much. That those bots, whoever knows Discord, there's just too much buttons going on. Discord is like trying to fly a Boeing 747, trying to manage the darn thing. So I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. I have to. We need to discover people who are capable of being enlightened, achieving enlightened. And that book, The Banner of the Arahants. Well, yeah, that's what I'm gonna bring back, is or discover more of and cultivate arahants in the world. We don't need more terrorists in the world. Everyone can agree that. We need more arahants in the world. So all of us should think about that. Think about how we're gonna contribute, how we're going to lead by example, by and through our own example. Every day, dedicating our body, speech, and mind, us ourselves, how kindful we are to people. We're going to be the humans that we want to see in the world. That's us. That's how we get people. That's what we reel them in. We don't go knock on the door and be like, hey, what's up? I'm Buddhist. Can I come in and talk to you about Buddha? No, that's not us. So we have to be mindful. Okay, moving on. I don't want to sit here and take up class time and do this with you guys. But I think everyone got the point. Anyone have any questions so far? Quite fiery, huh? You feel the fire in my heart, huh? The passion in my heart, huh? Anything you all like to share with me based upon New Year reflection or post-Christmas leading up to New Year? So we'll start with Christine.
Can everyone hear me okay? I don't really have any questions about Christmas until now. Kind of did similar things as far as reflecting on the new year, reflecting on lessons I've learned through 2024, good things that I need to take into the 2025 year, things that I just need to remember to never forget as a lesson. And really just, like you said, give more, take less. That's one main thing of one of my goals for the new year, is to continue to do that for myself and for others. So really no major questions about what you discussed. It made a lot of sense.
I'm sorry. Let me just get this out of my heart.
Okay.
They should let me interrogate any terrorist that's being caught in the interrogation room. They just let me go in there. Hear me out. They should let me go in there, and the bad guy be like, "What the hell? Well, that guy has a badge, and this guy got monk robes on. What the hell's going on here?" Like, "Hey, how you doing? My name's Chidao, monk, not law enforcement. Me want to talk to you. Me want to understand your mind. Me understand your mind. Me save world. So no more of you running around boom boom everybody. Yes, yes. Would you cooperate with me? You cooperate with me. I tell the judge you cooperated with a Buddhist monk. Lighter sentence. Maybe no death sentence. You enjoy peanut butter jelly. Say yes. Yes. Good. Thank you." And part of the interrogative process is, these are the questions that I have prepared for you and for you and any other terrorists behind you. Okay? Which is, tell me about your upbringing. Tell me about your parents. They ever lead you to church? Anyone taught you how to give? Anyone ever taught you how to hate? When was the first fight you got involved in? How do you defend yourself? How do you view the world? What is suffering? What is desire? See, I go through those type of questions to pick his brain. But yeah, sorry, that was just waiting there somehow. It's just terrible. One is too many. we've had a bunch of terrorists before, but just one after another, one's too many. It's just such a big impact on everybody. Puts so much fear in everybody. I'm sorry. That was very lack of mindfulness. Miss Bree, go ahead.
So it's funny that you talked about reflecting, because for as long as I remember, I've always done, those lists of, your New Year's resolutions. And most of them never go well because they're always way out there. But this year I decided to do a New Year's resolution, but Dharma edition. And I was curious if I could read some to you guys, because my thought is if I read them, they will hold me accountable.
Raise your right hand.
Wait, left. Wait, no, there we go.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
The following statements you're about to make will be in front of the Senate and Congress and will be holding you accountable for every word that you read.
Good.
Just kidding. Go ahead.
I
Share
have to
with
be
us.
like, what left or right? So these are just kind of things so it was funny because I was thinking on them throughout the day, and then I went down this rabbit hole of listening to Yudadama Biku's YouTube video, so he just made me think even more. So number one is to really read at least 8 Dhamma books, because I know last talk you had talked about reading 8 books at least every year. So I wanted to make those 8 books specifically be Dhamma books. So I already have a bunch of books I need to read anyway that you gifted, so I have plenty to choose from. So then I wanted to declutter / minimalize my life. And I showed you pictures of me starting that, especially because I'm moving into a smaller space. I'm going to need way less. So that's always I don't know if you guys get this way, but when I start dumping a bunch of stuff, it's so cleansing. I love that feeling. But then it's create a routine for chanting, even if that is like actually chanting, like we had discussed, or maybe just trying to get the pronunciation down a little better so it sounds better. Try to do that every day. Creating a routine for meditation. And I kind of opened that up to, it could be like a walking meditation, maybe like during lunch, or it could be a morning meditation or an evening meditation. So I have options. Then I kind of wanted to be more mindful about daily life. So I think we all, everyone that has a 9-to-5 job, deals with, you wake up and you have to get ready for work right away. So every morning when I wake up, I want to take 3 deep breaths of gratitude. The fact that I woke up again, and reflect on that. Then I want to purchase less things so that I can give more. So I'm going to try over this weekend. I already had kind of like an Excel calculator created, but I'm going to try to detail out my needs in order to like maintain my life as far as like where I live at and ability to eat food and the wants. So that's my big project for the weekend. When I move to my new place, I've been thinking about decorating, but I want to decorate with more of a focus of Buddhism in mind. So more Buddha posters, more Buddha statues if I can, because I have 3 and I would always, there's never, even him, there's never too many. I saw Yudadama's room. He has pictures of his teachers, and I thought that was really cool. So maybe I can get a really awesome picture of Venerable to put on my wall. I'll make sure it's a really flattering one. And then it's going to eat cleaner / healthier, so less, processed, unhealthy foods. And like, yeah, I'll do that one. That's a good one.
I have 4 of these, and I was like, well, I wanted to support the business, and I'm like, fine. Here's $100. Give me 4 of them, and I'm like, back then I had a lot of doubts. I'm like, I will give these out to my top students. Whoever can impress me, I'll send it out. Jorge got one.
Oh, there we go.
So you all can look forward to looking at my face every
send the
single
picture right now.
day in your room looking at
Constant
this,
reminder.
looking at this face.
You need to get a picture of you just looking very, like, not disappointed, but very much like, should you really do that kind of picture that I can put in my room and then cause a reminder. But, yeah, I want to do that. I want to, last year I didn't really, and I know we've had conversations in the past about how holidays and holy days aren't important if you can't practice basic Dhamma. But I kind of wanted to try and bring those into my life this year. So I've already made a calendar of when those days are, in the sense of hoping that they only add to my teachings. If I start feeling like they're kind of taking away from things, it's kind of becoming more of a ceremonial thing, and I'm losing, quite frankly, I'm losing the plot, then I'm probably going to back out of that. But I wanted to try to include that. Then I also made a list of things to let go of. So checking my phone / social media right away every morning when I wake up. So I'm going to be putting my phone across the room so that I literally can't look at it right away when I wake up in the morning. And I would like to even go a little further with that and say, like, the first hour of the day, I don't even really look at my phone. Mine is like putting the GPS in to get to work. So I want to try and do that. I want to try lessening phone usage after 9 p.m. minus these kind of conversations, obviously. But I've learned that there's like apps you can download that will actually block certain apps on your phone, so you can't open them after the time you set. So that's really cool. I'm going to use that. This one I was thinking a lot about, and I found interesting, and treating things less roughly. So when I really thought about it, my phone, I throw around. Books, I throw around. Plates, I just throw in the sink as long as they're not breakable, I want to, like, really be mindful about gently setting things down. Gently setting the glass plates into the sink. So that I'm practicing mindfulness, but I'm also treating the things that I work hard for well. So that's going to be there. The bed that we've discussed before, I kind of talked to my parents, and they were actually pretty supportive about taking my bed frame and my mattress for a little bit so that I could try the floor mattress and see how I felt about it. So I'm going to purchase one of those, and I'm going to practice using that, and we'll see how that goes. Then one of them is just staying up late, listening that. I think everybody, I know I'm somebody that can stay up pretty late sometimes, so that's always better. After the conversation you just had, I'm not sure how beneficial this would be, but I put down watching the news less, because I feel like people get so overwhelmed with all the negativity in the world that it clouds, some of this less skilled. It clouds their mind and makes it more negative, and they view the world more negatively. So I don't know. Maybe instead of just open listening to the news all the time, maybe like pick a time every week where I sit down and try to update myself on the major events.
This is what happens. Let me give you this scenario to laugh about. You ready? You see, everyone's going to go on about their days. We got Jorge and we got Jennifer over there, dancing around the room. Honey, don't do this. Honey, don't do that. And then they see another terrorist attack on TV. And then Jorge is going to be like, Jennifer's going to be like, Jorge, look, there's another attack in New York, whatever. And then Jorge's going to reply, oh, shit. You already know Cheetah's going to have a stroke tonight.
Then we're having another conversation about it. So I'll just get my news from you guys, is what I'm hearing. I did not know about the Cybertruck thing. I had to look it up. I had no idea that had happened. So glad you guys updated me. What other thing? I can only imagine after today's recorded talk that the whole world is gonna be like, oh shoot, Cheetah's got gas. He's gonna be at it at this by the end of the week. I'm interested to see how the programs are going to open, because they're going to be helpful. So, but my last one was, instead of like doing a major clean every weekend, which is what I do now, which takes like 3 or 4 hours, I'm going to try to be more mindful and clean up after each mess I make so that I lessen my cleanups on the weekends. So it seems like a good plan and more efficient. So that's my list. Hopefully I can stick with it.
You thought this
I feel
through.
like
You thought this
I
through.
did.
Good.
And I feel like because it's like Dharma and it's for, a really good thing, it's not, it's not like other people's, New Year's resolutions are like superficial. It's important to them. But I think, being more Dharma like is much more important than having 6-pack abs and the beach bod by April kind of thing. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Good. Very good. Very proud of you. Thank you for sitting there and reflecting. This is what all brings so much joy to my heart, knowing that a student sat there, looked at the details of their life, into the details, even throwing things around, catching small mistakes, dangers in the smallest mistakes, and then correcting them. That's how you become world-class students. And of course, if I was around you, I would be able to watch and see things that you cannot see. The teacher is trained to see things about you that you don't know. You cannot see. You're blind to yourself. The teacher knows how to pick up little cues and clues. But yeah, since I'm not there, this obviously gives a more accurate picture, description of what's going on in your life. We all can make small adjustments, and it's the small ones that will add up to the big ones. Very good. All right, so let's go to Leo because he yawned about 3 times. So either he worked a lot today, he sharpened a lot of knives today, or something we don't know about. And by the way, he's a professional knife sharpener. We're talking about terrorism and a student sharpening knives, so he's doing it for a living. Go ahead, Mr. Leo. You're on mute.
I actually did have a good day. I was kind of bummed the second half of December because I didn't have that much business. But I think that was just the nature, like seasonality. And now that busy season over, people are interested in getting their scissors sharpened. So that was nice. I did have a long day. In terms of goals, I'm just gonna say I'm just gonna ditto Bree. I'm just joking. That's a lot, honestly. Good for you for having such an amazing long list of, goals. As for myself, I feel like I'm still in a transitionary phase of my life. Like this time last year, I was working the 9 to 5 in an aquarium, and now I'm entrepreneurial and making my own schedules and like balancing work life, which is all new ball games to me. And so, but all things considered, I'm really proud of where I'm at. I was reflecting about like where I was last year and where I'm at now, and everything that has conspired since then, which was literally out of nothing. Like I had a thought of doing something, and I manifested everything, like with my hands. And I think it's awesome that we look forward and plan and do all these things. But I think, at least for me personally, I have such a hard time stop to turn around and look at the view sometimes because I'm always looking at the next hill. So I didn't really make a list of like to-dos because, to be honest, I always have a list of to-dos. But I took the time to turn around and be like, yay, Leo, good job at everything that you've done so far. So, which is something I never do. And it's so hard for me to like feel, what's the word, like proud about what I've done so far. So, I think that would be my contribution to this conversation so far.
Thank you. You are a male. We have less males than females on the spiritual path because males tend to fold inwards, introvert. Don't know how to label their feelings. There's a lot of obstructions on the male path. So, but the world is looking forward to a male leader, subsequent male leader, male Japanese leader, which, if you're ever a nationalist of Japan, that would bring a very new light and a very new bright light to Japan because of the culture that is being a very new bright light to Japan because of the culture that is being the culture that's over there right now is disappointing. Of overworking, suicide rates is high, loneliness, becoming a sexless state. And so hold your comments. I'll talk about female leaders here in a minute. They're at it already. As soon as I start going to males and females, somebody's, what do you mean? Hold your horses. My gosh. What am I? Like the Asian Donald Trump or Biden or something? What the hell is going on? All right. But yeah, it's when you're in my position and you look at the different nationalities and ethnic groups, you know what I mean? We're always looking for that particular one. Like Venerable Lee was Korean, and I was looking forward to, and he may come back, right now he's living life as he should at 22, 23 years old, but perhaps he is the first Korean ordained. I don't know, maybe in Florida. I don't know. I don't want to make any claims that is gonna come back to me, but I haven't met any Korean Theravada Buddhist monks, but so again, it's just hopefully down the road you can look forward to that. It's a rare. It's my point here is you're rare. You're a rarity. And again, I chose you and got you on board because I see that rarity. I'm trained to see rarity in humans in minutes, not days, in minutes. In minutes, I have, in our conversation that day, which actually was recorded, by the way, behind. The GoPro was behind you. You didn't know the GoPro because we already set the GoPro down before you started stalking me. So the GoPro was recording, and then you stalked me, and then you asked questions, and I was, back and forth. So until you say it's okay, I'll publish it. But
Oh, I don't mind. I don't know what I said, but and I'm sure it's not. Yeah, I don't mind.
What you say can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you can afford one, we'll find you a monk that is also an attorney to represent you in a court of Dharma. So, but so in those moments, in the midst of my ordination, you obstructed my ordination. Just kidding. So yeah, I was trying to ordain somebody, and he was just there, and I'm like, and then all my assistants were like, "Do we take pictures or do we not? Do we let you have a moment with this man?" Or I'm like, "Oh," and I'm just like, just see me looking at my assistant. I'm like, so I had those precious minutes to assess you, and then pitch to you right away, make it or break it, because you were just gonna up and leave. You could have up and left. It was a public event, so. But now you see that you play a very vital part and role in the world, not in just this class, in the world. Just understand the significance and value that you can and contribute, have towards the entire world. That's every human have that capacity. They just don't believe in themselves enough, or for some reason they have self-doubts. It's the teacher's job to point out their strengths and magnetize and just to the 10th power, so that they have courage and bravery and bare one's chest towards the howling wind and be the next victorious Superman. Everyone is Superman and every woman is Superwoman. You all got it. You just got to believe in yourself. Okay. So thank you for sharing with that. And let's go with Miss Jennifer, who did not yawn after eating.
Happy New Year again to you guys. And honestly, with all these worldly things going on and observing them, I really, I just want to put all the toxicity behind me and know that 2025, I'm moving on in the right direction. And I've always wanted to inspire others. And, I try to give as much as I can and share the knowledge and things that I've learned. And really, I just, I'm not going to tolerate any type of negativity. I'm establishing boundaries now where I can tell people, you know, I'm trying to be as positive as possible during these difficult times. The best thing we can do is be positive, and hopefully that positive energy reverberates, right? So any type of negative comment, I'm ready to cut that right off and say, you know what, I don't have time for you. You're bringing me down. I don't have time for you. So really, I did a lot of reflection over this New Year's, and really a lot of contemplation, you know, about making better choices going forward and not reliving anything from the past, because 2025, I'm ready for a brand new, you know, everything to be brand new, and, you know, letting stuff go. Jorge's been great with helping me purge a lot of things, and it's such a good feeling. And he even suggested one time, you know, setting the intention as I let go of some of my favorite things and giving them to some of those who are less fortunate, you know, how much I enjoyed them, and I hope that they enjoy them as well. You know, so giving is really key, and it does make you feel good. And I need to know how to let people know gracefully that I'm not going to tolerate their negativity or any comments that would, you know, just be negative. And there's so much bad stuff going on in the world. It's just absolutely heartbreaking, and we all have to be that light of positivity. And when I go down to the beach and meditate and walk, that's all I can think about is, you know, this shining light is shining among me, filling me up with light, and how, you know, I could hope to share that positivity and love, you know. And I can't have people trying to bring me down or have any type of negativity, you know, because I believe in them, I believe in others, you know. I'm just gonna set boundaries and shut anyone down that tries to throw any negative stones. And I think, you know, the more that we're positive and can radiate that positivity, hopefully we can make the world a better place and inspire others. And the cognitive behavioral therapy has definitely helped towards this this path of knowledge, because I can easily identify all of the error thinking. So yay. So that's great. But really, I'm really trying to more observe, you know, so if something gets me upset, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm observing, contemplating, and reflecting. And should the time arise, I will definitely say my piece and defend myself. But I just can't. I want to be high vibrational. I can't have any negativity. You know, I'm trying to be positive, and it's a bad world. And so, yeah, I shut the news off. I get a glimpse, see that I saw that negativity, shut it down. I mean, I don't know how you do it, Master, because it's definitely.
Well, don't you see? He's short circuiting.
Yeah.
It's affected him so much. No, I'm being sincere.
Yeah, that's why you have to have the support of.
Well, it's not just the terrorism stuff that just happened, but the aspect of everyday human's mind, purpose and meaning in a person's life, the antidote to that and what leads up to that. I'm practicing dependent origination right there and then. Like in seconds, I'm able to connect the dots and then see immediately within my own group, first and foremost. And today, I published this when I was sitting there with Vandana, and I says, you know, and I had my book with me too, and I was like, in the days of the Buddha, he watched his clan get decimated. Gradually through life, he watched his clan perish, slowly get perished. Can you imagine that? Well, that's me right now. I watched 3 died. Not to mention a dozen more in high school that I had direct previous knowledge of. And even in my own life, you know, I lost a partner when I was like 20 years old. I lost someone to brain cancer. And I've probably witnessed about, well, if you count the monk thing, which we witness a lot of funerals, but we don't know who they were. So probably like 200 deaths.
Wow.
But personally, probably 50.
Wow, that's a lot.
And you must ask, how do I look this young? You you know, uh, yeah. So, and not to mention, my dad was a social worker also, and was a case manager at Asian Neighborhood Family Center, ANFC, which still exists today, but under, I think the last CEO was Miss Carolyn. And back in the day, the ANFC shows up to funerals. So that was the very first time I ever showed up to funerals. Coming to America at like 9 years old, my dad's like, "Hey, let's go. We got a funeral." I'm like, "What?" Because that was their community. That was the Vietnamese community, and they resorted to the social work aspect of people. And listen, 8, 9 years old, I'm walking up to a casket, and I'm like, I had to come to terms with death at like 8 years old. You know what I mean? It was like that every year. Like every year, there's like 5 deaths, at least 5 or 10 deaths in the Vietnamese community. You know, so. But anyways, so yeah, so my job is not to just be moved by what is happening, but I was moved because of the people that is in my group, and I'm like, I had a talk with one of my guys, and I'm like, did you forget what all of us stood for? What did you? You know, and this particular human don't even brush his teeth no more. Don't change his clothes. Clothes smell like alcohol in my car. Just completely let one go. You know what I mean? Letting yourself go. And I'm like, boy, if you don't reel yourself back in, you know. But I had to say it in like the most nicest way. I couldn't really hammer them like that. You know, it could take the opposite effect of what I was trying to achieve, which is, this is not you. This is, when do you ever, and then of course, you know, using myself as an example, and I'm like, when do you ever see me do this kind of stuff back in the day? You know, and the other thing is, I was holy long before I was holy. I was on point before I was on point. Get what I'm saying? Like,
wearing holy socks.
Like, yeah, like when I was appointed head of security at like, I don't know, like 20 years old or something like that, I had to now live a professional life and a holy life, because I can't just strip club, cocaine, marijuana. I can't just do that. Then at 18 years old, I was working at the courthouse. So I'm a judicial officer. I am an officer of the courts in Florida, with a dual capacity as a chief of security. And then 2 years later, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, okay. And I mean, Asian culture is all about, you need to watch yourself. You need to care about what other people think. It's not about you. And don't make our family look bad. No lose face. There's the concept of lose face, you know, like face value of like who you are in totality. So I led by example since I was 20. You know what I mean? And again, at 14, I started chanting at the monastery, and I tried to live the holy life. It wasn't perfect, tell you that. Yes, I did minor mistakes here and there, and I did lapse. Yes, there were foolish things that I did, which we'll laugh one day, but we're being recorded right now. But there was just some really funny stuff that happened, and it's just like, oh God. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Let's not go there. Okay, so but my point was that. So then that gave me evidence, direct proof, to prove to them I never acted like you guys back then. I try to lead by example. How come you all let yourself go later in life? This is not us. This can't be us, you know? Try to reel them back in, try to give them strengths and memories and stuff like that. So that's why I was so fired up. This is burning in my heart. It was like heartburn. You know, a very different kind of heartburn to do this. And I, you know, like, how did the Buddha do it? To watch his clan decimate, you know? I mean, he had direct knowledge of his monks getting killed, murdered in an alley, because they didn't stick with the Dhamma. And of course, back then the Vinaya wasn't, the rules for monk wasn't, it was on the process of being established, reestablished, refined, you know what I mean? So of course you're gonna have a bunch of foolish ding dongs testing their waters, and some of them got killed and murdered in an alley. And so he had direct knowledge of that. And so when it unfolded, he was very unmoved. They told him direct knowledge of that. And so when it unfolded, he was very unmoved. They told him about the monk that was killed, and he was like, that's it. It was just like, all the books were very descriptive in what he said over and over again, repetitively. And it's funny, when it came to his own clan's karma, it was full acceptance, unmoved. And he went on. You know? So, anyways, but yes. Thank you for sharing, Miss Jennifer. Very, very proud of you. At one point, I started to lose grip of you. And that's why you knew when I started to tighten you up, that there was you were drifting away like the Titanic when Jack and Rose was on that damn door and you were drifting away, and I was like, I got a fishing pole longer than you think. The hell. So yes, start new again, be better, new you. You know, you wake up different when you're mindful. Less negativity, you cellular level. Help your immune system kick whatever the hell this year brings. You know, you need it. Mindfulness is important, not which is your mind, but direct correlation with the body to help your body heal, replenish, revitalize, you know, re-energize. So yeah, I mean, look forward to that. I mean, who wants to wake up achy? When you have negative thoughts and when you have so much going on, stress in your life, oh God. Buddha says, life is short. I'm telling you, and when you don't live mindfully, you're gonna be like, life is too long. Oh damn. Oh, this is too long. Oof, this back pain, this achy neck, you know what I mean? So part of this path is enthusiastic and strategic and healthy and happy, because you wake up different. Now, people use shrooms and LSD to go for this trip, right? Listen, how about this trip? How about the trip of sleeping good at night and waking up in the morning? That's a different kind of good trip. That's one hell of a trip. I wake up like that. Like I told you all, when I sit and meditate, no manufacturing of the mind. When I go to bed, no manufacturing of the mind or nightmares and stuff like that. So yeah, good. You know, and you guys are the most seasoned students here, and to come to this realization at your age is amazing to see, to watch you grow, you know? So anyways, let's go to Jorge. Oh, and you have an amazing man there. You need to give him the ring instead of the other way around, because he's always on you for this stuff. It starts to reprogram how you think, because he's always at it, and you probably started to develop conviction, like, wow, this man is really about this thing called the Dhamma. Like, damn, I've never met a Puerto Rican man like that.
Yeah.
I said not too much in the first thing in the morning.
Yeah. So so she wakes up and I'm up since like 4, and that's when I'm doing Dhamma heavy. I'm like you ever seen in Dragon Ball Z the hyperbolic time chamber? I'm in that thing.
Well,
Dominating out.
let me tell Jorge this too. I think I called him out on this for trying to scare you away with the death, old age, disease, decay. But in Thailand, when they greet each other in the monastery, especially brothers and sisters, they actually say, "Hi, brother," in aging, sickness, and death.
Yeah. We're the same.
That's their salutation. That is the normal, regular salutation. It's no different than in America. Here it's like, "Hey, how you doing? How's your day?" But in Thailand, it's, "How you doing, brother?"
Hello, brother.
In sickness, aging, and death. So it doesn't escape their mind. And yeah, it's like, aging, rock on. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, he's a very mindful man. He tries to be mindful, and he's doing it out of his love and kindness of his heart to keep you all on your heels and toes. And it's also my job to make sure he's not me in your house or y'all's house. You know what I mean? Because sometimes he's like me in y'all's house. Sometimes he's me in this group, and I'm like, oh, let me mute my microphone. Go ahead, Leo. Jorge, take away.
Yeah, So I learned about so Hillside Hermitage. So I have a confession. One of the things that I do is I'm using one of the AI tools that I discovered through Google. It's for research. And I pretty much do all the teachings. I grab different teachings from different masters and I put it through the mill to see what it gives back to me. And one of them generates these podcasts where they really get to the crux of the matter. And today was one by the Hillside Hermitage, Four Noble Truths. But there was something beautiful that he said, which complements what Bree was talking about, Leo, all of us, actually, even you, Master, and of course, Kristen, all of us, which it talks about how I can actually play parts of it for you because I know exactly where the part is. But before I play the part to you, if I may, what they're saying is that, like, first, don't give up. This is a very hard practice. The mind is one of the hardest things to train. And not only that, but like we have to be able to, like Leo has already explained that he's done, to reward ourselves for the good that we are doing. So every day people wake up and they're living out their habits because they're imprisoned by the desires. We, on the other hand, even though right now we are the amount that we are, remember what the master said about the ascetics. There was very few of them. The people who got enlightened, they were not sitting on a pillow somewhere. They were not in a monastery. They were regular, everyday people who took the teachings of the Buddha and transformed themselves. That's why so many people got enlightened during that era. What I'm trying to say with that is that do not give up on the path. You're doing great, Brie. I think your plan is amazing. It's going to work out. Everybody's doing wonderful. Make sure, like you said, there's no more time to play games. The world is moving faster and faster, deeper into abyss. The only time is now to practice, it takes a while for us to practice the patience that's necessary for the things that are incoming. Whatever they are, in whatever direction they take. Because in Dhamma, there is no such thing as good or bad in the sense of being driven by the two extremes. There's only that middle path, which, if you think about it, the middle would get you out anyway. The middle of anything would get you out of anything. If you were in the middle of a circle, you'd probably have a greater chance to escape than if you were on the edge. With that being said, let me play the clip so you can get a little bit of words from what I received. So the reason why I do this is because the content is so rich that it's just mind-blowing. So I'm thinking, well, it could be used as a tool as opposed to like the all-in solution.
And the Hillside Hermitage Venerable is also Nyanamoli.
Yes.
With a
yeah.
Y. That's no
With
different.
a Y.
It's no different than our book's author, but with a Y.
With the
Just-
Y.
yeah,
Right. And this part of me, mister. Go ahead.
No, yeah, he's an abbot. He's pretty strict. He works out and he does yoga. I mean, the dude
Yeah.
is like.
And he gets right to the chase. And this is, again, this is not him. This is the AI compacting what he wrote, what he said.
Got it.
It's normal to feel that way. But to keep watering the seeds of our practice with diligence and loving kindness, and to celebrate even the smallest signs of growth.
This is where his emphasis on the right instruction
Right.
is so crucial.
It is crucial having a teacher or community to guide us,
To guide us.
to encourage us when we falter,
Yeah.
and to remind us why we started on this path
Yeah.
in the first place.
It's comforting to know that countless others have
And we
navigated
have walked this path before.
these same challenges and experienced the same doubts and frustrations.
Absolutely.
We're all part of this larger tapestry of awakening.
Yeah.
Each of us contributing
Each of us offering
our own unique thread.
our own unique thread. And this brings us to another important aspect. The power of community.
Yeah.
Surrounding ourselves with people who support our aspirations, who offer guidance and encouragement.
He talked about the Sangha,
He did.
Yeah.
The community
the community of like-minded individuals.
of like-minded
Let's
individuals
share this path.
who share this path. He uses this beautiful analogy. A group of trees growing together in a forest.
Okay.
They provide each other with shelter from the wind, shade from the sun, and support as they reach for the sky.
I can can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
Having a sangha, even just a small group of friends who are also exploring these teachings,
together.
can make all the difference.
It can
It's easier to stay motivated and inspired
to support each other.
when you're not doing it alone.
Exactly.
Yeah, it helps to know
Yeah.
you're not the only one
You're not alone.
wrestling with these concepts and questioning
Questioning whether you're doing it right.
whether you're doing it right.
That's a common experience. It also acknowledges that the path isn't a linear progression.
Okay.
There will be times when we feel like we're making leaps and bounds,
Yeah.
and times when we feel lost or stuck.
Yeah.
It's important not to get discouraged
Mm-hmm.
by those inevitable setbacks.
So it's about embracing
It is.
the whole journey
With all of its
with all its ups and downs.
ups and downs, and
Yeah.
seeing every experience as an opportunity
Every experience is an opportunity
for growth and learning,
for growth and learning.
even the difficult ones.
Even the difficult ones. Exactly. He encourages cultivating a spirit of curiosity and openness. Remembering that even the most challenging experiences
Mhm.
can be sources of wisdom and compassion if we approach them with the right attitude.
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
It is.
Instead of labeling experiences
Right.
as good or bad,
Not good or bad.
we can start to see them all
See them all as teachers,
as valuable teachers
Yeah.
guiding us
guiding us along the path.
toward greater understanding
Yeah.
and freedom.
That leads us perfectly to his
Right.
point about cultivating gratitude for the path itself.
Gratitude for the path. It's so easy to get caught up in our daily struggles
Mm-hmm.
and lose sight of the bigger picture.
It's so easy to forget
It is
how fortunate we are.
absolutely. He reminds us that we're incredibly fortunate to have encountered these teachings at all, to have the opportunity to practice,
Yeah.
awaken to our true nature.
Yeah.
Something as simple as having access to this conversation, for example.
So that's all. I wanted to give you a little bit of clip of some of the things that I do when I'm studying, which is pretty much I put it through this day and to see what it comes back. And I combined all that and really have to say that I come up with some really interesting reflections. And it really just kind of gets right to the heart of it. As far as like today I learned about intention. Like there was another one that I put prior to that through Yutadamo, actually, the one called Karma, the one about karma. And you know, it's so true what they say, like intention is everything. Intention is everything. Did you want to move it? Sorry. Intention is everything as far as like you're not there's no action without intention. No matter how I don't care what you say. I've thought about this all morning. Like there's no way. Like I did it with myself, practicing everyday moves, every action that I did today. I really was like, okay, what's my intention? Like just whatever it was whether it was I want to get more coffee but I was realizing that without this intention part, there's absolutely no action. So that's why this is the heaviest weight with karma. And that was, I mean, I didn't need like a long discussion. Like I got it like I was like, oh, that makes like that's true. Like if you just put it like if you just go right now and just look at any action you do from after we finish this class tonight and follow why you're doing what you're doing. Just in the small things that you do, even if it's just brushing your teeth, but follow it through. Like, why am I brushing my like what's the intention? And then you'll start to see like, wow, yeah. Then you'll know your own motives. So that's important because you start to discover who you are as far as like why you're even doing the things that you're doing. Why do we even like the things that we like? Do we even know? Like, is it something that's even that, it's not even us, but I'm saying we have these inclinations towards certain things and we don't even know why they're there. So that's what I learned about intentions. And although I was looking more at people's intentions, but it's even more now because now I'm like looking at myself and I'm going, yeah, what are my intentions? What are my intentions when I do anything? Whether I open a door for somebody or like, let's say in the past, saying good morning to a girl that's pretty, what were really my intentions? And if I look back and I'm honest about myself, like with myself about I know very well what my intentions were. But guess what? Those intentions were not known. And that's I can see where I faltered a lot hiding behind an intention, but presenting it as something else, which causes obviously a lot of suffering. So that's it. That's what I learned this morning. And like I said, I'm using the AI as a tool because I find it useful to see what it's generating, and then I'm downloading them because I know that's going to change eventually, where they're going to alter truth. Because right now it's based on like the morals that we have that they crammed into it when it was created. But eventually that's going to evolve to something way different. So like just like the master is doing, where he has all those terabytes of his talks, I'm also storing a collective of AI generated content, because I promise you, and this could be catastrophizing and fortune telling to a degree, but I have no faith in the current state of affairs of the people who are in charge to say that we are heading in a direction where truth is going to reign. It will reign because truth will always be reign, will reign over anything else, but it's going to be obscured for a bit. They're going to use it for mass manipulation for sure. Just like they did with the electricity. You know, somebody had an idea to give us free electricity, and because they couldn't profit, we're stuck paying electric bills.
Very good. Thank you. I don't think none of us are going to fall from the path or have doubts on the path, because everyone can see your true convictions in the path, your core beliefs in it. And it's amazing to see a student. And he had this core beliefs since he met me. And when he met me, he was all over the place. He was all over the place. And I keep on trying to get information out of him, from him. He didn't even make sense. But I'm just like, he didn't even make sense. And what made him special and unique, he didn't even make sense. He wasn't even incoherent. I'm an interpreter trained at the District Court of Appeals. So I'm trained to listen to make sure somebody makes sense so I can tell the judge what the hell they had done said. But every time he came, he gave more and took less by bringing food. He bought like tangerines and stuff like that. And I'm like, so he wasn't a threat, because what he told me in the beginning, my orange flag was up and I was like, oh, hell. And I'm just starting out in the middle of my career and I'm like, oh, hell. That's why the statement I said earlier that got everybody puzzled. When they don't give and they're in your life, they are a threat. You feel the weight of that statement?
Mm.
And for me to learn to trust Jorge, you know what I mean? I was like, he don't even make sense. But he comes every Sunday when I'm doing this, and he just brings these gifts, and he's so respectful. And the second thing is respect. If there's no respect, whatever relationship you're in, they are also a threat. Imminent threat. So
They respect each other.
yeah, now my language is changing the way how I describe humans. But yeah, so anyway, but yeah, Jorge was like this in the very beginning, and it's so funny because I have videos and pictures of when he was, and his dress code even changed back in the day, and I was just like, it's amazing. So I got to write a book. It's gonna be The Former Venerable Jorge, right? I got a lot of books to write. That's gonna be one of them. But every single one of you, as long as you stick in this, it's my job to make sure you get the most out of it. And exactly what that darn AI was saying earlier about community, sense of belonging, protecting each other, safe space to share, gathering information about you for yourself, knowing who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses, and using that to give back to the world is going to be one of the most amazing things in your entire life to do. To find that gifts within you, and then give it back to the world. Because if you just hold it in, knowing that gifts or that talent or whatever, what good does it do? That's why you see all the rich CEOs, now they're teaching. It's like, you were a CEO. You were a CEO. You were successful. True. You made millions. You made millions of dollars. Why you start yapping about all your secrets? Because they feel the need to give back.
I wondered about that.
So the least that they can do is give knowledge, because it's the easiest and fastest. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, y'all don't have to do anything. You guys can actually use my platform to teach. So very good, very good, very good. All right, let's go with CBT. And from now on, it's already 10:30. Yeah, we should really aim from now on to stick out 9:30, 10. at least 2 hours like it's a college course, because we're getting so much out of it. And this is not even withstanding Steve joining us tonight. Steve wrote to me. And by the way, some changes in this program, write to me, or write to me an essay about what you have learned last year.
Okay.
Okay?
So we got an assignment.
Because in my mind, you guys are all lazy until you prove me otherwise.
Yeah, you're right.
I have the right to accuse beyond a reasonable doubt. Again, it's engaging for all of you. It's good because I don't know who's journaling, who's not, and you know what I'm saying. And right, Bree already wrote half of her thing because she read it to us. But I need to know what you guys have gotten out of last year. I need you all to assess the teacher. Whether I suck, you say, yeah, you suck in this part in the arena, and this is where we think you need improvements. And if I'm awesome, then where was I awesome at? So I need to know my strengths and weaknesses. So you all need to do a Google review, an unofficial Google review on Cheat Out, so that I understand your worldview, how much you've changed, and I'm measuring your progress. And you will also measure your progress, because if you just have that conversation in your head year after year, no one, how am I supposed to know? I don't know, and you don't know. And so, anyways, yeah, this is my journal, and you know, I write in it and detail everything. Yeah. Everyone will be getting a copy of this, by the way. I'm sorry, not a copy. You all will be getting your own leather journal, the same one.
Oh, thank you. Wow.
From Barnes and Noble in the mail very soon. So please send your address again. Yeah, Biko Bodhi's book will be coming to you guys. I'm just hesitant sending it because if they lose it, I'm gonna have a meeting with the postmaster. Yeah, I'm gonna have a meeting with the postmaster. If they lose the Biko Bodhi's book, I'm gonna make the postmaster of USPS visit Biko Bodhi and get another signed copy for y'all. But yeah, for in lieu of Christmas, because you know things are just crazy with the post office and my schedule. So everyone will be getting a copy of this. For, you know, this is real leather.
Thank you.
The type of paper can use any ink. Any ink that you buy, it's very absorbent. So
wow,
you guys, use it this year. Again, do everything new this year. Whatever you didn't do last year or fell short from the program, do it again, and now you have all the materials to do it. So you look forward to new books. Everyone's got new books. And then we're also moving towards the anthology of the Buddha, you know, probably like in February-ish. Our year's gonna move by quick because we're not done with the life of Buddha yet. Okay. And CBT is still lingering. So we need to wrap that up end of January as fast. So emphasize on urgency. Emphasize on urgency. Your red light should be going off, rotating around in your head about all of this. So excited that stuff is coming in, but we have a lot of work to do. You know, look behind me. The guy to Theravada Buddhism is behind me, and we haven't even touched that yet. So, and we have to go to the anthology of the Buddha because Jorge's got a book, and then Julius has got one, Leo's got one, and so you girls got to get the anthology, which is this thing. In the Buddha's words.
I think I do have that book actually.
Right. So everyone's got, I'll send it to you, Christine. Don't worry. Yeah. So this is, you know, I think this is more comprehensive, and we're gonna see how this is more comprehensive than the life of Buddha. The life of Buddha just took like a portion out that was super academic, and I'm like, huh, you know. So we're gonna get a feel of how Bhikkhu Bodhi presents the anthology in comprehensive. He's got a very comprehensive explanation, both orally and written. Like I've asked him, like when you guys ask me stuff, and you guys are wondering why he has to look it up, because I'm actually adopting Bhikkhu Bodhi's method instead of just spitting it out. Bhikkhu Bodhi, you ask him about suffering, he literally like gives you like Webster dictionary explanation. You know what I mean? He's like very methodical, slow, academic, careful. He's not like me. I just sometimes throw stuff out there within my own stuff in there, so it's like a soup. But yeah, so because the majority of us have this, I didn't want to go to this, but majority of us have this, so we might as well just jump into it. But I wanted, because after the life of Buddha, you guys already knew what his life is. You got a good, solid understanding of it. Except Leo. Leo didn't go through it yet. So Leo, you got to catch up times 2, because I trust you and I know you can do it. So we need to get you to go through. And anyone who's not using the Sakyamuni biography of Sakyamuni, send it to Leo by mail. That way you're not hoarding. And then when Leo's done, he can ship it back to you or whatever, right? This way we feel a sense of community and giving. And giving. If you don't give, you're a threat. Okay. What a so yeah, that's my plan. All right, let's go with CBT. Everyone's got CBT out and about. I got questions on it. Let me go grab my book on CBT. Oh. All right, I had to take my upper robes off because that is winter robes. If you didn't notice, those were new color. That's Laos national color. So it's like that kind of like bright red, orange red, kind of like, hey, Coast Guard, how you doing? We're here to rescue you. Okay, so CBT. Go ahead, Miss Christine.
Okay, I just had one question / somebody's thoughts on this passage in chapter 17, which is overcoming obstacles to progress. And it's on page 236, and it's under the part that says seeking support. I'll read it and then I will just kind of give you an example of a question I posed to my mother earlier today that had me think about this more deeper, and then get someone's opinion on this situation that I asked her. Seeking support. After you begin to get over your shame, guilt, and pride, you can start to look for help in earnest. The help you seek may take the form of reading a self-help book like this one, approaching a therapist, talking things over with a friend who can support you using this book, or looking through some online resources. Some people find that self-help techniques are enough, but if you think you need more support, be sure to get help sooner rather than later. Putting off seeking professional help when you need it only prolongs your discomfort. Don't wait until your problem has advanced to the stage where your relationships, employment situation, or daily functioning are suffering before you take positive action. Then goes on to say in chapter 19, we explain how to seek professional help. So when I was analyzing this part, it made me think about how, like, in my community of being African American, we put stigma on therapy, mental aspects. And before meeting and finding out about Venerable Trudeau, I've gone to therapy before in my life, to do with family issues and my own, trying to figure out my own suffering. So when I thought about it, I'm like, well, I know back in the day, African Americans or Black people always thought that getting counseling gave you the stigma of being crazy, or, you're not wrapped too tight, and, you're just, a numerous of things. So I asked my mom, I was like, well, hey, why do you think that is with our community? Why is it like, your generation is older, you've always kept things hush, hush. You kept things silent, which, generational trauma and all the other things. Whereas like my generation and younger, for the most part, were doing therapy. And my mom gave me a good answer. She's like, well, a lot of people in the elders, that was their way of coping with whatever was going on with society at the time, economics, racism, misogyny, all that jazz. And they didn't see how having someone from an outside perspective could help them cope with just themselves, to be better for themselves. And then hopefully that'll trickle down to the community or so forth. And it made me think, and I didn't say this to my mother, but it's like, I've been trying to tell my family for years, like, all of us need to go to therapy in some way, shape, or form, whatever fits you. And it's interesting that my mom says this now, but she still won't go to therapy for her own situation or issues. And I remember when I was younger, she used to be so adamant about not getting it. Like, I didn't tell her the first time I went to therapy because I knew how her response was, what? Why are you going? What's wrong with you? Blah, blah, blah. Like, type of thing. And I'm like, well, I can't talk to y'all about it. So I need an outside perspective. And at that time in my life, it did help. I said, eventually I told her and stuff. But it's like, okay, the reason why people need to go now. Even though you're older now, your views have changed, they've evolved, you've adapted to times of change. But you won't go. So to me, it's still you're still kind of doing the same thing that the community done in the past. And her thing also would be like, oh, well, I need someone who's African American, who's gone through some things, who's struggled, who's suffered, who's older than, somebody that just got out of college. They haven't lived life, and yada, yada, yada. So my question to you guys is that, how do you cope with, like, she knows the tools. I know she needs it more than anything. She knows she needs it, but she won't take that step. And I can't do it for her. Like I said, I love you, Mom. I've given you suggestions. I'm like, you journal. She journals. Venerable, if you're ever blessed to come here and I'm able to introduce you to my mother. My mom has boxes of journals from the time she was a kid, like all the way till now, that some stuff she still won't let us read because she said we're not old enough yet to know what she went through. So it's like, I know you need it, but you haven't taken that step yet to have an outside perspective. I don't know if she's scared. I don't know if she's just like set in her ways. So how do you approach people that you care for? It's like, okay, you just leave it alone. Just don't talk to them about it. Let them figure it out. But then it's like, well, you can see they're suffering in some way, shape, or form. I feel like they would be liberated. So what would you suggest? Or just leave it alone and just focus on whatever I'm doing, and hopefully they'll see it as an example for them.
I'm so glad to have you in my class. You're a very eloquent young Black woman. And in Georgia, we have Miss Jacqueline, who has a podcast. She's Black and she stands for women power and all that good stuff. I'm going to give you her phone number and she'll probably would like to interview you. But again, you represent your race, you represent your people, and the stigma surrounding all of this for all of us, Asians, Black, white, Puerto Rican, Chinese, Japanese. Okay. Yeah. I offer my whole life for examination to the entire world. I was the most messed up. And let me just say for everybody that is messed up out there. And that's why you can use videos like this to inspire your family. And it's like, you think you ain't messed up? Look how this man was messed up when his grandmother passed away and everything else. The other thing is, I scratched my head with some of these people who wrote so much in their journal. And I met another woman too that had, of journals. So they live in their head. Their feelings are on paper. They stash it away. They don't want to share it. So they still living in their head. Still up there. Number one, you have to demystify talk therapy. And like how I define therapy, all it is just information. People tripping because they don't have the necessary information to feel safe enough to open up. So one of the ways to approach conversation objectively is to talk about suffering. It's like, Mom, you haven't gone to therapy, and I just wanted to have a conversation with you about the word suffering and whether or not you like the suffering that you have suffered in silence and siding with the lawyer in your head. The one thing you will repeatedly hear me say over and over again is the lawyer in one's head. It always has been and it always will be obstruction to growth. The lawyer that sides with you, the lawyer that misguides you. So, it's like, huh? And somewhere down the line, we just feel safe in this little space of this voice, this volume in our head, this radio in our head. And then we're like, like literally just having that conversation. It always misguides us and we suffer in silence and we hold it in our hearts and then we have heart problems. So the correlation between mind and body. That's why it's important to study psychology and health and body and, You know, like what does a John do when he's not doing this? Well, I look at WebMD, Mayo Clinic, latest research on cardiology, latest research on psychiatry, neurology, to mind and body correlation, so that I can present this to you guys. So again, it's always been the conversation of the first noble truth, skillfully. That's why it's probably good that you write it down into an essay and then present it to me, and then or write an essay about your mom, her tendencies, what you know about her, so I can match it up with what you want to say and the history that I know about her, so I can say, yeah, this is what you need to change, and this is for. So we have it down to a science and approach it tactically and strategically, so that you maximize the effectiveness of the conversation with her, instead of just winging it. Just be like, hey, I want to talk to you. You might probably do more harm than good, or shut another door that don't needs to be shut. We want to open the door and keep it open so that we have a nice dialogue back and forth, especially with stigma surrounding mental health. But yeah, that's and yes, I want to make my way over there, and quite frankly, with the holdings that we have raising funding for Rinpoche, let's say Rinpoche don't come, then I have the funding there, and if you all allow it, then I'll use the funding to go over there to see you guys. Okay. But that's one of the things, is repair family. I want to meet your family. I want to bridge the gap, or find out, or discover. I just want to meet these people and see what's going on, because it's been aching in your heart. I'm doing work with you, but I also lack information of your family that makes up a portion of your heart. And you ache when you don't feel that you're understood. And you ache when they are hurting, and you can't find the right words, the right time, the right place to convince them, influence them. You know, like how I got so messed up beyond belief was when my grandmother died and I received therapy and my mom did not, and she objected to therapy. And I was livid, raging in hell in my head. Because before my grandmother died, I took my grandmother and my mother to my professors, and they watched me do presentations, and how my professors were like, oh my God, your grandson, your son, blah, blah, blah. And in my head, I'm thinking, this is a world-renowned college. You just watch me, the only son, the only grandson in this darn family to choose this profession, to stand up there and present new therapies to people, and now you're going to object to therapies. Like, I've lost for words, and you know, I was very angry back in the day, super angry. So I had lost my right. So yeah, so that's why I know I feel the same pain both of you are feeling, and others out there, when you can't relate to family, they don't understand you, you don't understand them, but you watching them burn with their own fire that they have created. It's kind of like that fire in their heart, and you can able to like see it and feel it every day. And it keeps you from being the best you, because you have this ethereal, or whatever chord that vocabulary is, this attachment of chord with them, rightfully so, because you are the daughter, you are their blood and tissue and energy, you know, and consciousness, and all these things ties you to them. That's why we can never stay far from family, or even though we want to disconnect from them, it's so difficult. And that's why we have to use the teachings of the Buddha to try to detach as much as we can, because it's so difficult, and we bleed every day, we cry every day in our hearts that we can't do something about it, and we're running out of time. And as time passes by, it magnetizes, you know, it just like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this shit. And year after year, it's the same thing, you know, and they're looking at you, you're looking at them, and it's unsaid, underlined, but bold statement that needs to be made. So I hope to go over there and to be the G-Down difference in your life, you know, to meet with them, engage, and you know, so like I said, I've traveled to Georgia and other states, and was able to fix families within a week, sometimes even within 24 hours. bringing them to peace. That's what it means by fixing them, bringing them to peace, and to bridge that gap right away. And the funnest one was in Cali, the Catholic family, where the mom was challenging me in the car, and I was just calling her out like you would never believe. Just she was dueling with me, like verbal sparring with me, and the son was like, "Mm-hmm, you get him, Pastor. You get her." He felt seen. He felt seen and heard for the first time because they probably went at it. She's so stubborn, and what made it such a unique particular clinical case was because the son doubted me. I was such a stranger in that house. Had no idea who I was and how I'm going to do this. They all had doubts because it's Vietnamese. They don't think psychology works. Then I'm there under color of religion as a pastor. So they're like, he's a pastor and he's also trained in psychology and he's here. Like, what the hell is happening? He's in our home. He's sleeping in the couch. What the hell is happening here? I know that's going on in their head, but just the right time in that van, and she was just excuses. And I'm like, oh, we're doing this, right? So it was a gradual building up of the mental sparring. And I just let her have it. And I'm just like, you know what? Jesus wouldn't take this shit from you. I tell you that. You got a man of God in the car, and this just don't fly right now. And the son felt seen. So I went there, I didn't have any expectations, but everybody was at peace after it all. Because it was just, again, that unsaid, underlying, bold statement that needed to bridge the gap between the misunderstanding between them. Misunderstandings in family, terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. And people don't understand how terrible it can get. And the distance that they feel doors apart, and they feel so distant from each other. Who are you? How are you my mother? How is this a family? What is the meaning of family to you? Because this is the definition of family to me. Right? So anyway, so I hope to do that. So there. I gave my advertisement, and it's my job to hold up my end of the bargain and see if there is a cheat out difference. That needs to happen. If it doesn't happen, then but I have faith that it can happen. So I'm just that skillful and still sharp at 36. So all right. Next question on the CBT book. Yes, sir. You're muted.
Can I share a thought about Christine's dilemma?
Sure.
From what I got from the way you described your dilemma, and I imagine myself as your mother, I get a lot of they don't understand vibe from that. Like, for the example, the fact that she has so much books, written about her life, but then she won't even share them with her kids because, you're not old enough to understand. Or therapist, I won't be able to find a good therapist because they haven't lived long enough. They don't know me. They don't have that human richness to really handle what I carry. And so I get that kind of isolation and they won't get it. It's not going to work. There's a lot of doubt, I imagine. And meanwhile, you are in the warm ocean, and you're like, dude, the water's warm. Come on in. It's just love. And she's like, no. And it's too deep. The water's too deep. It's scary. And maybe there's other influences, societal influences. What if my friend finds out that I'm going to therapy, and then who knows that? And there could be other forces that are keeping her to stay high and dry and safe. What she considers safe. So I don't have the answer, but I think one way to look at the dilemma is to how do we get your mom to feel safe enough to first consider, this idea. And it's the process of like making her feel safe enough to baby step her way into the warm ocean of love, instead of like, what she might consider as like a high dive from a diving board is what she might perceive it like. And so that might be one mental frame that you might be able to work with to see like what would be the best way for her. And also, I've definitely been in that situation where I see my friends suffering and I'm like, dude, you got to read this book. And like, you try and help them and they're not, picking up what you're putting down. And I get too caught up with my own goal setting. I'm like, I want you to, and it becomes more about me. And so keeping it them oriented I think is a good thing that I have to keep reminding myself. And the other thing is like reassessing wherever you are, like what my goal-oriented way of helping blindsides me sometimes from choosing the right decision versus like what I want, and like reassessing like, okay, maybe we took a step too forward too fast, and maybe it's actually better to take a step back, reestablish grounds before moving forward again. Just constantly reassessing, I think, is also good. Like just because your goal is to climb the mountain, you don't want to like make dangerous moves just to get to that goal, So those were just some thoughts that came up to mind when you were sharing the story.
Thank you for that. The thing is, I probably shouldn't have used the California example because they're just different and a little stubborn. So I don't want you to think that I'm gonna show up to your house and be that guy. I have to meet people where they're at, and again, the approach is soft, kind, caring, compassionate, understanding. The other thing is holding the people responsible too. Depends on their level of education. Depending on the level of education and how much they know about psychology and therapy and or if religious affiliated. The other thing is to ease them into, if she's Christian, then church and pastors and priest. That
we tried to. Like, it's interesting, you and Leah both said that, like, I know, was it last year? Not last year, 2023. In my prior therapist, like, he kind of fit all her criterias, and I was like, okay, well, me, my sister, and my mother had agreed upon going to group therapy. Well, it never went into fruition. I started going. I didn't have any issues. I started and continued to do so. So I'm just like, now I'm in therapy with you guys, but it's just like, okay, well, I follow through, and my family's pretty smart, not trying to say that they're not.
Do you feel?
But it's just like,
do you feel comfortable sharing, because we're live, why the pastors and priests did not work?
I don't necessarily think it didn't necessarily work. It's just my mother can be sensitive. My sister can be blocking, like she blocks a lot of stuff too. And I'm sure she journals as well. I see her sometimes in her room doing her own thing and stuff. I can't really answer that. I want to say I don't know if it's maybe their own coping mechanisms for their own suffering that they don't want to address at this time. And I know my family has gone through a lot. And we have cut out a lot of toxic family members as well. So we are very protective of the peace we have right now that we built strongly. And we each have our own little family issues, individual issues that we have to come to terms with and or journal through, find ways to cope and, leave it in the past and learn the lesson. But with the priests and the pastors, I think it's just maybe they got an answer, they didn't like it, and then that was it. I don't necessarily know if my sister has gone to priest or pastors, but I know my mom has. She mentioned it to me a few times. And I don't know if he was Catholic or not, but the other guy was Christian.
Okay.
He did give her some solid advice. This was someone she was dating at the time. But nevertheless, I think it's just blockage. I can't really say.
So it sounds complicated. It sounds like multiple people are involved, and that's what makes the web, you know, the entanglement of one's complex life. Yeah. So the one thing about advice is that the timing of the advice is very crucial, and sometimes priests and pastors can only give a general advice without understanding the depth of one's family's suffering and interpolitics behind the curtains, details of this person did that. Now I'm not going to talk to her because she had done this to me about 5 times, so she can just and then all that, you know. So like, you know, you got to branch it out. Family tree, you got to know the sensitive lines, who's connected to who, and who was kicked out of the family, and who tried to come back in, and who cheated, and who stole from who, and who was stubborn, and who was hard-headed, and who argued with who the most. And I feel this way about her. And so, yeah, you got to have all of that in your head before intervening at the right time, just finding and then understanding the person's personality. They got their times of the day. You just got to find that right time at the right place at a lake or somewhere, they're nice and calm, and jump in there with all the information that one has. Jump in.
And I know she met with these priests or pastors. These are years ago, way before COVID. You know, this like probably over 7, 8 years ago. So, but nothing recently.
Right. All right. But yeah, so it tells me, yeah. So this is a complex family. It could be very, very complex, which is normal, which is fine because I'm trained to do this. You know, again, I was in Cali for 3 days, and so I started calling the person who asked me to be there, and I'm like, "What? Tell me about your sister." And they just went on and on and on. I'm like, yes, keep talking. Like 2 hours. And I'm like, got a whole profile of her already. So I already know, you know what I mean? So it's about profiling also to the proper strategic profiling of all of the players involved in the game. Each family's got the stage, the players, and whatever transpire historical context of it. You know, there's a lot. You know, this is why you get a master's degree in family systems. You know what I mean? It cannot be solved overnight. Sometimes things cannot be solved overnight. But the investigation of family history is very crucial and important, and often overlooked. You know, because most therapists are just trained to work on you, not so much for the family dynamics of it. But whereas I'm different, where I focus on the family dynamics and the interplay between the two. All right, whatever. That's science stuff. Okay. So we'll deal with that. Obviously, I need to go over there. That's what it tells me too. I need to go over there. So it's gonna be a lot of fun for me. It's like me going into a different playground. Yeah. Any additional questions in CBT? Okay. Leo, you have any questions on CBT? You're muted again.
I'm at chapter 10, but I have no questions at the moment.
Okay. Miss Jennifer, do you have any? I think she's snoring.
I have my earbuds on, but I'm going to go to the bathroom.
I had to go to the bathroom, sorry.
Oh.
No. I'm back though. No questions, not right now. I'm looking forward to getting more into this as far as the, it's actually page 229 is kind of where I'm at. So, just going through, I don't have any questions at this time, not right now.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. As soon as I do.
Okay. Seems like everyone is approaching the end of the book.
Yes.
You're at 220 something, right? Okay. So we should be reviewing the book soon. So, all right. We'll prepare for a review, and so should everyone. Prepare for a review about what is the most important and salient in the CBT. So yeah. Okay. All right. Because You see, I'm gonna time it just right. It's not my job right now to press anybody in questioning, but it's something. If crap hits the fan in your life, you better apply CBT because that's gonna be one questions that I ask. How you gonna deal with it? And guess what? You're not gonna know what problem's gonna present in your life. But when it comes up to the surface, we're gonna find out. You know how you were or were not behaving like a scientist. How you broke it down, reconstruct. How just again. So everything moving new beliefs. Whether you reverted back to core values and beliefs.
Ooh, the core beliefs, yeah.
How you water your garden or not watering your garden, or you just looked at the book and then threw it, just like Bree would throw books all over her bed. I feel seen, Venerable. Okay, all right. Questions on life of Buddha. Questions on life of Buddha. And Jorge, you have to catch up on Life of Buddha too, right? Have you been reading Life of Buddha too?
Only when we're in class.
Okay, well let's kick it up a notch and
Okay.
and because this is, according to the Pali Canon, very important.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Thank you.
So stop watching Jennifer, and I need you to read more.
Okay.
Don't notice if she puts the dishes up, down, sideways, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
You're telling me. Thank you. Sorry.
Yes. Take the book, go out, sit by the water, and read, and look at the water and read, because then you can't look behind you because Jennifer is up there. So look at the water, look at the book. The book's gonna stress you out, and then look at the water again, and look at the book. You gotta have a strategic way to do it, and then challenge yourself each day. Challenge yourself to do something new and harder. The only way you're gonna be better. Period. That's what I do. I don't understand why you're not doing it. You need to exceed me. Exceed the old teacher. Yes, go ahead, Leo. Teacher. Yes, go ahead, Leo.
I had a question. So I'm on chapter 3, page 32. And this is right after he got enlightened, and these are like his first few thoughts. This one starts as, at the end of the 7 days, after emerging from that concentration, the Blessed One surveyed the world with the eye of an enlightened one. As he did so, he saw many beings burning with many fires and consumed with many fevers born of lust, hate, and delusion. Knowing the meaning of this, he uttered this exclamation, which I don't understand. This world is anguish, being exposed to contact. Even what the world calls self is in fact ill. For no matter upon what it conceives of itself. The fact is, every other than that which it conceives, the world, whose being is to become other, it is committed to being, is exposed to being, relishes only being, yet what it relishes brings fear, and what it fears is pain. Now this holy life is lived to abandon suffering.
Okay.
So yeah.
The world is anguish, being exposed to contact to drugs, contacts to sex, females, sensual desires, too much chocolate, too much potato chips, too much strippers, too much money, too much power. Okay, the world is anguish. It causes anguish. Okay, being exposed to contact. So recently in the news, of course, now I play CNN. The chief of department, NYPD, was being called out for sexual favors over overtime, like $400,000 in overtime, or 2 female black lieutenants. The chief of department is also black. So up in the highest ranks, corruption again. But I guess the latest news was he did in fact make sexual contact with her, according to the news. So he's now living in anguish. The world is anguished, being exposed to contact. Don't touch it. Don't talk to it. Don't wink at it. Okay, that's what the Buddha means. And again, when you study the six senses, the ayatanas, sight, touch, seeing, smell, hear, when your senses are open, eyes, nose, ears. That's why I like it when you close your eyes, because I'm like, you keep closing your eyes, you might become a Buddha. Not being exposed to contact. And contact doesn't mean just touching either. Once your eyes see what it is, you can't unsee what you just seen. You can't unhear what you just heard. That's why people get mad as hell, because somebody done said it and you just attached onto what she had done said. Attach meanings to what was said. Even what the world calls self is in fact ill. The world, which is everybody else in it, me, my, and I. This whole paragraph talks a lot about the self, me, my, and I. Is in fact ill. It's an illness that you think it is yours, that you possess it. It is under your control. The three marks of existence. For no matter upon what it conceives, its conceits of self, back to the self again, loving oneself, love yourself a little too long, love yourself a little too deep, and whatever you do is all about you. That's why the danger in it. That's why if they don't give, which is the opposite, a life of all giving, other people, they are a threat. They're living in anguish, and they will steal, cheat, lie, kill. Okay. Again, the world whose being is to become other, which is unauthentic, to become what they're not. Fame, glory, to be somebody else. Just look at all the fakeness in the world, how people present themselves. Look at TikTok, look at Instagram, look at all the supermodels. Look at all of how they fix their boobs and nose and everything like that. Okay, not their authentic self. Is committed to being, is exposed to being, relishes only being. That's all their deep core beliefs. This is all about me. I'm gonna be me, the most prettiest me I can be. And exposed to other beings fake as they are. Unauthentic, greed, anger, living in ignorance, delusion. Yet what it relish brings fear. What they actually really want brings fear. Fear of, fear of everything. Fear of your nose job, falling apart. Fear of being compared to other people. Fear that your status is inferior to other people's statuses, and fear of having less followers than others. And what it fears is pain. It's painful deep down inside. That you got all worked up getting attached to all these worldly pleasures and status, fame, glory, money. Now, this holy life is lived to abandon suffering. So choose the Noble Eightfold Path so that you can stop suffering unnecessarily. Alex right now is all about self-beauty and self-love and selfies, and no different than other Gen Zs and Alphas do. You should see the amount of obsession of fixing pictures and finding blemishes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Fearful and anxiety and all sorts of craziness, like so attached to oneself. We're more attached to ourselves than anything else in the world. So yeah, I hope that breaks it down for that paragraph to all of you. And again, so he did saw beings burning with many fires and consumed with the many fevers, born of lust and hate and delusion. See, it goes back to all the three poisons. It always does. It always will be. Coming back to it, square one. And we also need to be aware of ourselves, whether we are stuck into this obsession with ourself or sense desires. Okay. Now, this holy life is lived to abandon suffering. Live a life and leave a legacy. Towards the end, even if you all become millionaires, what have you done for the world, and how are you going to be the next Gandhi, MLK, or the late Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter, who lived a very modest life. But he did so much. Look at that. They honor him. Look at that. Everyone wants to be Jimmy Carter right now, or MLK, or Gandhi, or Dalai Lama, or Desmond Tutu. So again, we suffer so much.
in its simplest form, we suffer so much when we just focus on all about me. My year sucked. I want this year to be better. You know, I want. You start with I want, you're already suffering. Then it will be followed by pain. Just wait for it. Pain's coming. Okay. Yes. Questions? Or
Venerable, I was curious if could I add something with that?
yes, ma'am.
Slash question. So, because when I read that, I highlighted that as well as something that was there's a lot of poetry in that. And I was curious if the fire sermon is a really great breakdown of what he was trying to say in that smaller paragraph. Would that be a correct statement?
Yeah, everything's burning. Pretty much this fire sermon is everything's burning around us. And that's why I started off with the talk with the terrorism thing, is because everything is burning around us. And I also gave you clues that it's burning inside people's, there's microaggressions in their hearts. The news only recognize when it is exterior and of that magnitude. But the individuals that I encounter with, they're like on the brink of joining things that are not helpful for themselves. I have to be careful because then the FBI would just be all over it. So again, people seek to belong, to fit in. So that's why we have the KKK. That's why we have other extremist groups. There's so many unhappy groups out there that are extremist. So again, yes, so the fire sermon is excellent. And every time when I'm around fire, I actually go over there and make contents so that people can feel it and see it, that the world is burning in every corner, in homes, on their beds, people who are watching on their couch, burning in their head right now of desire, especially desire. I want all sorts of things. Just name all the wants, you know. So, needlessly suffer. Poor things. Oh, yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then Leo, there is a good breakdown of it on page 64 if you wanted to read ahead at all.
Okay.
But that just kind of breaks it down a little bit. I mean, even that I think is an abbreviated version of the fire sermon, but
Ears burning, sound are burning, nose is burning, odors are burning, tongue is burning, flavors are burning, body's burning, tangibles are burning, mind is burning, mental objects are burning. Everything's burning. Yeah.
Everything's burning.
Right.
Wait, what do they mean by like burning?
It's on fire. It's on fire because it can't get what it wants. It can't get what it wants, so it's burning in hate, it's burning in jealousy, it's burning in envy. You know, just think about that one guy or girl that you wanted so bad, and I got this burning desire. Why do you think they put burning and desire together in the common language of the people nowadays? A burning desire, like, ooh.
Sorry, go ahead.
You're okay. Like my teacher says, is like, there's not a house they would not burn down when they're jealous. When it comes to love, jealousy, or that's what my teacher says. Venerable Doi Khan, very very famous. His Eminence Doi Khan. He's like, but he says it in Vietnamese, which is even more profound. And it's like, oh my God. But yeah, again, examine the fire sermon closely because it's very 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 important. Fire sermon, every monk has to know.
I always love how they describe Nibbana as the fire being snuffed out finally. I always love that analogy.
I just got a fire extinguisher, like an old one that someone played with and threw it away, but it was lightweight and easy to carry, so I snatched it home. I didn't violate the precept of, not freely given. It was abandoned, to my defense. But yeah, I my teachings this year is going to be very visible, and you can feel it, you can see it. You're like, oh my God, it's really dramatic. Yeah. So I mean, I may just probably buy a real one and then have a student spray me with it. Or I might just light part of my robes on fire, really, really, truly, so they can see, oh my God, he's on fire, and then spray me with it, and then I'm nice and cool and smiling with my big smile, so people can understand and conceptualize, feel the coolness of nirvana, the coolness of being with the flow and naturalness of things and just watching the aggregates unfold without having to cling on to the aggregates of life. the constant combinations of the aggregates of the flow of life. So again, go back to the aggregates. That's it. That life is about the combinations of the aggregates, ever flowing, ever changing. So just kick back and just watch, just be an observer. I had a woman that recently was diagnosed with a cancer, and that was resolved. And she told me, when things change you when you have cancer or end of life diagnosis. And she's like, when I see a tree, it's just amazing. Again, like grateful for the tiniest, smallest thing, because now you have no choice. You're going to die. So you're brought towards the mindfulness of the moment of a tree, a mindfulness of the moment of a leaf or a caterpillar. And you're like, oh my God, the causes and conditions of this little tiny hairy thing crawling nice and slow. It's so cute. Its butt is wiggling, and all of his internal organs are working to keep him alive. And he's just eating the leaves. This is so cute when he's eating the leaves. And this is like nirvana to me. You know what I mean? Like, that is nirvana. Without, some people live their life in these excessive desire and forget what is at home. The ability for you to open your eyes to read this book is a miracle, because you have any idea how many billions of nerves working through your eye. You can wake up blind tomorrow. Never see again. Never see again. Ever see again. Better start getting used to the Braille system. Like, people don't understand. People, for those who don't have those disabilities, ungrateful. That's a lightning bolt with that word, ungrateful. So yeah, so we Buddhists, again, my colors mean death, and every sense that you study in the ayatanas are to be like taking in a deep breath and just, how about when your nose is not clogged up and the ability to feel all of the breath, the totality of one single stroke of breath is a miracle. Now, you see, go in the pharmaceutical section of where they sell all the nose stuff that you can spray and it unclogs this part of your body. And you're like, that's $50 on the clog this just to breathe? The hell? So the next time you take a shower, a hot one, and you take all that snot and mucus and phlegm, whatever the hell, up in your nose, and you're able to breathe, and you're like, oh my God, I can breathe. Then you realize the importance of breath, and breath is life. Yeah, the little tiny things like that. That's your nirvana right there, and the ability to just close your eyes, just feel that warmth of that softness of the water and mindfulness of showering, for Christ's sake. And realize, oh, my nose is not clogged. And in 4 hours, it will be clogged. As it should and as it will. The nature of things. So yeah. Sorry, I just expanded that. Just to emphasize little snippets of nirvana. Okay, any other questions? I'm sorry, we're just going over the time again. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes. Y'all should be thankful the professor is willing to sit this long with y'all. Any questions?
I do have a question. If it doesn't go over the time.
No, it's for you guys. I can sit here till 5 hours. Oh, I love teaching. You want to try me? You want to try Kalamasutra? You want to try me? So you want to see it for yourself? Ehipasiko, come see for yourself. Ehipasika. Go ahead, have at it.
So this might be a quick answer. It was just something I was reflecting on as I was reading and listening to Yudadamo's talks today. And it was, what should or can be done about past sufferings you've caused to others before you found the Dhamma? Is there anything that you can do to kind of, not say make penance, because I don't know if that's really a thing in Buddhism, but that kind of idea, like to like make amends for things that you've done.
Oh, we had background noise by Jorge. Repeat that last two sentences, Miss Bree.
Yeah, so the question was, what should/can be done about past sufferings that you've caused to others before you found the Dhamma? is there anything that could be done? Is that really irrelevant in Buddhism? In this, like, in like Catholicism, you know, you make penances.
Okay, all
But
right,
is
got
that
it.
kind of like nothing?
Got it. You did it because you were ignorant. That đang dạy học, có muốn FaceTime quan sát không? Sắp xong rồi. 10 phút nữa xong rồi. Chúng nó gọi lại ha. Okay. We do things. A lot of people ask me this actually. Especially relationships, they do a lot of things. Đang dạy học. Hello. Accidental. Yeah, people say things and do things very unskillfully, unwholesome, and they're in a world of regret because of what they said. The power of words, and they're just wondering, what can I do now? And one of the most important thing a person can ask, what can I do now? And the first thing is to recognize what a person has did, and our Rinpoche just says, a very happy new year, Venerable. May the year bring attainments on your path and abundance of joy, happiness, and success. Hopefully Christine said that. To own up, to realize what you did is the first step. Bring it to awareness of what you did. Look at the individual in my group that did what he did. You know, he just kind of forgot, and it wasn't forgotten. I don't forget. And, you know, to bring that back. So understanding what you did, the magnitude of the depth of what you did, the severity, nature, and gradient of what you did. Then you realize that it was unwholesome, it was not good, you hurt people. Then you try to make amends with that person and truly express the sorry how it should be expressed in the most genuine way. Then you go back to yourself and you promise that you will never ever do it again. Then now you dedicate how much you can do to prevent it from happening for other people by knowledge or action or volunteer, and give an abundance in your life. Dedicate body, speech, and mind. Now, there's no other human out there that's more transparent than someone like me who was an avid hunter. Remember I told you that? I was an avid hunter. So I killed boars and lizards and birds and mountains of them. Mountains I killed, admittedly. And I suffer greatly, both mentally and physically in my life, and anticipated this upcoming year even more suffering to be paid back. No different than the Buddha. What the Buddha himself did unwholesome things. So after he became the Buddha, he had to pay back his karma. So what makes me think I exempt, or you exempt, or anyone else exempt? So the wise fear of the workings of karma and how much it keeps track of all of us. One has that wise fear, and one always thinks of other people, nice, kindful, productive things for humanity, so that you can offset as much of it as possible. The consequences, to offset in hope to offset, alleviate, mitigate the intensity and severity of the consequences that will come in your life. And that could mean kidney transplant, cancer, your nose being broken because of an airbag, your ear being ripped off, a bird attacking you, a bird pecking out your eyeball in the middle of the park. Think that it can happen? Go ahead, try your karma. I don't really have to do much as a monk. I don't have to convince anybody anything. Go ahead, do what you do. You'll find out very quickly. And for the ones where you guys wonder, well, how come he became president and karma just seems to take its sweet ass time? Wait for it. It will ripen the way that it's going to ripen. whoever the president is, whoever, you know? You think monks sit here and worry about karma and justice, how karma will take its form? No, because we know it's going to work itself out. That's why I don't look 90 years old thinking about who gets elected or re-elected and who gets to get away with what. I know who gets to get away with what. You know, karma will take its course. For us Buddhists, we will always return back to our practice. And if you're incapable of teaching the Four Noble Truths, then you meditate. You keep the precepts one way, you will lessen your karma. Keeping the precepts, meditating, you know, studying the Dhamma. Those three things to return back to the practice. That's why you're not doing harm to yourself or other people. If you can't help other people, at least don't hurt them. Thinking negative, thinking angry thoughts, you're already creating negative karma. So therefore, it's very, very important that you follow the teacher's lead and do exactly that. Don't play lawyer in your head. No, I really don't think it works. I don't think rebirth is real. Go ahead. Go try. Go out there without me for a year and do what you really want to do. Go ahead. Go hit the strip club. See what happens. Go touch money. Go sell drugs. Go do whatever the hell you want to do. Go ahead. You'll be crawling back in no time. I know that. You'll be like a boomerang in no time. So blessed are those who are smart enough to understand how I need to repent in Buddhism, how I need to give more and take less in hope, without the possibility of it becoming real, in hope that it could be mitigated through the suffering of the body, especially the bodies. Oh, hell. That's the worst, right? The body, you know, kidney stone, think about kidney stone, the pain of kidney stone. Thinking about passing a rock through your urethra and peeing tube. A rock. I've worked cases like that as an interpreter where they had to do surgery and I'm in there with a urologist and I'm like, say that again, because I'm going to puke. But of course I have to remain professional with my suit and tie, but I'm like, and I'm seeing all these damn equipments and I'm like, Felicia, do I got some medical equipment here to scare the hell out of y'all? No, maybe I don't. Usually I do. I usually have a big, huge syringe here. And the syringe it's a turkey thing. You know the thing they do turkey? Yeah. Yeah,
Baseball size?
Yeah, I usually have that, but to scare the hell out of students. But that's why I'm always in the medical setting scaring the hell out of students, because it's all fun and games until it happens to you in surgery or pain and you're limping around and you know. But yeah, I operate every day. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I don't care if I have backache sitting here for 5 hours because one student needs me. I'll do it because I know that I'm paying it forward. So there is some selfishness in there. Kind of like, yeah, I'm going to do this. So karma, leave me the hell alone. That's the conversation you should have with karma. You know what I mean? So I title karma. I give this imaginary lord of karma. Somebody's keeping track. We don't know who. We don't know how it works. But somebody's keeping track. Okay. You know. Again, if you stole before, look at how all the things that went missing in your life. That's how you know it's real. You know. And if you were angry before, just look at how people treated you unfairly or how you got the reciprocal of it, or equivalent or even more severe of it. Just pay attention. For those who are mindful, they know these things and they're like, yeah, I definitely karma is real. And for those who are mindless because they're incapable of remembering or they don't want to remember, well, I don't know what to tell you. You got Joe Biden syndrome. Ain't nobody gonna fix that. You fix it. You go see a neurologist in the damn morning. I ain't no neurologist. So yeah. So anyway, but yeah, that's the answer for that. But very, very good and useful question. So, and for the remaining balance of my life, I know I am plagued with things that will unfold, that I know, that I have insight about my life. So look forward to me living out the holy life as much as I can, whether I'm in robes or out of robes, because of this fear of not peaceful death. That's the subsequent fear is, how am I going to die? And if you look at hospice cases or go to hospice and interview nurses and ask the nurse, tell me 5 instances of horrific deaths that you have witnessed, and they will tell you, you know, and 5 peaceful deaths that you have seen, and they will tell you, and you're just shooken up, necessarily shooken up for enlightenment, and you realize I'm enlightened today. At least from hearing the stories, I'm pretty enlightened. For those who live recklessly or doing harm to other people, you know, doing harm to other people. That's something that I noticed this past week, doing harm to other people. Yeah. Very good. Anyone have any additional questions? Good? Awesome. All right. So yeah, even though we meet only twice a week, it seems forever waiting for it because I'm always looking forward to it. I'm always looking forward to it, and I hope that others more is watching out there so that they can call me or text me or whatever. Get on my Facebook to become students, to the interview process to become students. The Buddhist Intelligence Program.
Okay.
So everything needs to be done with, by, and through with intelligence nowadays. Okay. All right. You all can say bye to each other. I don't have any. I don't think I have any more. But do write that essay about a year. It's titled "A Year in Review."
A year in review. Okay.
I need this. I need you all to tell me what you learned from the CBT, Life of Buddha, Dharma discussions, what it meant for you, how you apply it to your life, the assessment of the teacher, good, bad, ugly, improvements. Okay. Trust. Okay. Trust me, I don't take it personal. Trust me. I already told myself that I suck, so I said it for you. I need areas of improvements where I need areas of improvements. Trust me.
Disqualifying the positive.
I got a personal referee over there. So anyway, so yes, so I do appreciate feedback because I need to be a better teacher. Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and better is best.
Woo!
So
That's beautiful.
yes.
Thank you so much.
Good. And then so Leo's going to do that, and Leo, since you work for yourself and you're becoming an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
The great challenge for you now is 3 books because you are college educated. So 3 books to you should be nothing comparable to 5 books that they gave you back in the day. And they will keep your noggin and brain health really good and healthy, creating new neural synapses and transmitters, axons, and yeah.
Sorry, which one was the 3rd book?
It will probably come from one of these girls. I gave mine away to Jorge. Jorge stole mine.
Sounds good.
Show him. He's gonna send it to you. That one over there. Sudoku.
Oh yeah, okay.
Show him.
What?
The book. Show him the book.
Which one? Oh, Shakyamuni?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
I'll just buy you a copy. I'm not done with this one yet.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine.
But I can send it to you. I can just send you a copy.
It's actually free online.
Oh. So this one here?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen this one.
Wait, I think. I think.
I'll look it up on Thrift Books. I'm sure it's not
I
there.
don't have any problem with sending you a copy. No problem.
Can you take a picture of that? Can somebody take a picture of Sakyamuni and send it to me so I can send it to Leo?
Yes. I'll send it to you right now.
All right. So obviously you all can tell that the tone this year is me pushing you guys doing a little harder because that will replace any nonsense you guys are doing at home that I don't know about. And if you think that you can get away with binge watching Netflix, Yuhu, Lulu, HBO, Cinemax, and all these subscriptions, reduce on your subscriptions, more Dhamma studies so that you can grow and fortify yourself like Iron Man. I'm trying to Iron Man your brain so that it is impenetrable to the world at hand. so that you cannot be infiltrated by evil and selfishness and greed and anger. Okay, so there's a method that I'm deploying here, a somewhat of a medical model that I'm employing without you knowing the extent of this deployment and employment of the Theravada order. So anyway, so again, challenge yourself more. Like Bree was the first inspired by this, you know, and Bree was most expressive tonight in talking about how she's going to make corrective micro changes as it will lead to larger changes in one's life, which is amazing, and all of us should do that, including myself. You know, and I need to review more books and prepare for next and next and next and next, and you know, 2025 should be accelerated, thorough, careful, absorbing, solidifying, cultivating, empowering you because of the advancement of AI, because of the advancement of stupidity in this world to no end. So therefore, I need to solidify my students that they are like the most solid titanium. If the damn iPhone is made of titanium, and so I will make you titanium.
This is the most powerful iPhone the world has ever seen so far.
But yet humans are dumb as hell. Dumber than a box of rocks. Why the hell do you need a powerful iPhone? I need you to demonstrate to me that you're the most powerful human right now by understanding you. What the hell?
There's a lot of sayings I see out there that says, there's all this talk about artificial intelligence. Can we figure out natural stupidity first?
They so dumb that they need a powerful phone to make them feel powerful. They so dumb they need a iPhone 16, next 17, so that they feel a sense of control. Oh, I have AI with me. I have the calculator. Take the calculator away. 70 times 7. Go ahead. You know what I mean? Huh? Oh, the 0 comes down and that goes over there, and 7 times 7 is 49, 4907. 0. What? Right? Right? So yeah. So again, School of Jidao needs to be different. His students need to be different. If they were lazy last year and they got away with it, because I let you get away with it. Because I let you. Right? Right? You know my tone. You know who I am. And I just let you. Why? Because, you know, supposedly you were stressed out about everything, right? But now you know CBT, right? Allegedly, you were stressed out, and everyone's and family, and so I kind of let you dance a little bit, right? I let you slack a little bit, yeah. But you know me by now. You should have started gauging personality, like, oh shit, he's gonna wait for the right day. He's gonna come at us quick, right? And this year is gonna be that year because we're battling AI. Right. So it's one thing about being an independent monk, that I don't have to answer to university or institutions. I can speak my mind and create policies and to make my students better. I love it. I love challenges. You should not be ever fearful of challenges. Challenges make you better, the best version of you, and it creates additional suffering, academic suffering first and foremost. It creates academic suffering, of which y'all got it so good, y'all don't know what suffering is. But part of this is you need to experience this type of suffering in order to teach the other students what suffering is. It is the suffering of giving up BS for real education. It is the suffering of time. You know, I'd rather go out and drink and be my friend. No, sit your ass down, open the book, read it, and write about it, and share it with the class, and tell me what it means. You know what I mean? Then you have the power, the authority, and the authenticity and experience to teach your other students what suffering is. Well, you don't think I sat there myself and did this because my teacher told me to before I told you, ding dong. You know what I'm saying? Right. So the next generation, Gen Zs and Alpha, will be looking forward to hearing the confidence in your voice because you've done the work and the training. You're being trained right now. Just in case you all didn't know, now you're being formally trained. Happy New Year. Boot camp. Buddhist Intelligence Boot Camp, 1-on-1. So look forward to the new you, you know, the chiseling process, you know, shaving down, solidifying, replenishing and downloading, and so I'm reprogramming all of you humans, rightfully so, ethically and morally, and in accordance to guidelines of the Theravadan order. I can't just make stuff up without reason. Okay. All right. Good night for all of you. Rejoice in the answers that you have received. Rejoice in the new strategy and plan. Rejoice that we have a plan. Rejoice in the blueprint. Rejoice to a new happier you. Rejoice to a new healthier you. And again, that trip tonight of sleeping, nice, long, peaceful sleep. And that's one trip of just one day, the total completion of one day. And every day should be victorious, every day. From now on, 2025 is the year that you mark, and you know that every day I've done my best. There's nothing more I could have done. I've done my best. There's nothing more I could have done with the resources and time and energy and money that was available to me, and the people too. All those 4 elements: time, energy, people, and resources available to me. So you don't feel bad about yourself. Cultivate good self-esteem. Good night to all of you. You can say bye to each other, okay?
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Bye.
We chant next time.
Bye.
I teach you how to chant next time. Chant should take like 10 minutes. All right.
Sweet.
Take care.
Good night.
Ooh, I had to be that thorough because I might not have energy to reel in students, for the program and stuff. There's so much planning in my head. Thank you all for your patience. Hopefully everyone learned a lot from tonight. And until the very next time, take care. Y'all can reach out to me on my Facebook. Facebook Messenger is really good. Or my email, the number 1 Vietnamese interpreter at gmail. The number 1 Vietnamese interpreter at gmail. Take care, folks, and Happy New Year to all of you.